urgent issues. So the good folks that are all part of the Community and Economic Development CSA have graciously decided to come back to us to respond to questions. And I had a few, and I appreciate that, and I suspect a couple of my colleagues may as well. So I was hoping to take, well, first let me just ask my colleagues. I don't have my screen up on Zoom yet, so I'm going to ask for a nudging from Grace. No, nobody's hands up? Okay. And I'm looking here to Councilmember Cohen as well, and I expect he'll nudge me as well. If not, I'm going to jump into questions. We know that throughout our city, hiring and retention is a challenge. And I know that's true not just in our city, but lots of cities right now. But we know we've got several departments that are struggling mightily, and one of them, of course, Pbce. So I'm trying to understand our strategy because we're dedicating resources to adding 13 permanent positions. And can you help me understand, is that just making permanent what's been already created one-time funding, or are we actually creating more positions? And I guess the follow-up question, which you can probably anticipate, is going to be, why are we dedicating resources to expanding positions when we get all these vacancies? Shouldn't we just be focused on hiring and retaining?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Chris Burton, Director of Planning, Building Code Enforcement. It's an excellent question, so we appreciate the opportunity to talk about it a little bit more. And absolutely, sort of hiring is one of our key priorities within the executive and management teams in Pbce. It's something that we're focused on a daily, if not weekly, basis, with currently 60 vacancies throughout the department and a limited capacity to sort of how many we can hire at a single time. The 13 positions that we're adding through the budget actions are really a mix. There's a couple of positions we're adding back on the admin side to help sort of support our administrative and management function to actually sort of get some of these vacancies filled, provide us the support to sort of do a lot of the back office work. Some of the positions are one time. There's a couple of sort of add-ons or continuations. The bulk, we have 5 positions that we're adding in the permit center as permit center staff. And so we do currently have some vacancies in the permit center. Our vacancy rate right now of the 18 positions between permit specialists, principal permit specialists, we currently have 3 vacancies there. We are adding 5 positions, and part of that is to give us, the ability to work around some of the challenges that we've seen through the pandemic on bringing projects into the city. So it'll sort of provide some relief on sort of our ability to kind of process. But as we've gone through that transition during the pandemic, we've really brought a focus to shifting services to online digital sort of applications, and people can start their own applications. And so adding those positions will also help us support that transition and give us additional capacity and take some of the pressure off some of the other areas like plan review with our engineers. As far as our planning staff, where we've actually really sort of drilled down and focused on our hiring. So in both the permit center and the development review teams, our vacancy rate in the permit center has gone down from 20% in February to about 0% right now. We've filled all our positions in the permit center. And in the development review team, we've gone from close to 20% in February to 5% right now. So we've filled about 6 planner 1, 2, 3 positions and technician positions in the planning department. I think part of the challenge is there's been a couple of visible losses that a lot of people, folks that they're used to working with in key positions. So one of our planner 4s in the CEQA team, most recently one of our division managers. And so that's obviously a challenge when we lose folks in our middle management set. Each one of those is a multiplier for the staff that works below them. So we're really focused on how we fill those gaps very quickly. Like I said, we sort of prioritize all our hiring on an ongoing basis, make sure that we can ensure that we've got consistency of service throughout. So I don't really see the additions that we have in the proposed budget as sort of really layering on any of these challenges. If anything, it will facilitate more hiring and better streamlining for the process.
Okay. So thank you, Kristen. It's actually heartening to hear that vacancies are getting filled in some key areas. Just in terms of across the whole department, you have a sense of how many vacancies you've got right now?
Yeah, so we're at about 20% right now. We have 60 vacancies throughout the department, which is a considerable amount. Like I said, we've made some significant strides in planning.
Yeah.
We have some key gaps in building, particularly in building plan review.
Right.
So of the 18 associate engineers that focus on projects, we have about 6 vacancies right now. So that's significant, and we can see the sort of correlation between those vacancies and the increase in our backlog over the sort of first half of this year, going into last year as well. So we're really focused on that. The other one is sort of there's some vacancies in inspection. Right now, we're sort of maintaining sort of most of our inspection capacity, but as we head into the end of the year, that's going to be a concern. We're at the end of 2022, we're into a code change. So, there's going to be a lot of pressure, a lot of permits, people trying to get projects in before the code changes so that they're applicable. So we are sort of looking at ways we can address that on an ongoing basis. And then lastly, code. We've had a pretty ongoing challenge in hiring code inspectors into code enforcement. So, and again, we have an ongoing open recruitment. So once a month, we come through and we check in on that recruitment. Same with building inspection. And the challenge is always just the amount of qualified applicants that we get through that process. So we're looking at ways that we can bolster our pipeline, how we can address sort of the sort of opportunities for folks to fill those positions, because these are great jobs. We want to make sure that we're getting good people that may not have the traditional skill set that we would look for, but certainly are the right fit for the position.
Thanks, Chris. And I know in the past few years, we've increasingly looked to third-party plan check, private sector solutions to help us just deal with the flex issues. And I'm particularly focused on this in this moment because we're hearing the news of 1.4% drop in GDP the last quarter, and rising interest rates, and what we're seeing from our own data around construction activity on page 192 is not great. We know where construction is generally going, and housing isn't terribly financeable right now. So what I'm worried about is us spinning a lot of wheels, doing a lot of hiring, and then running into this trough where all of a sudden we're letting people go. And I'd much rather see how we can do everything we can to keep people we got, and maybe use more flexible staffing with the private sector to fill any peaks that we're encountering now. To what extent are those opportunities available to us?
Yeah, so we currently have peak staffing contracts across all 3 parts of the department. We're actually working right now as fast as we can in the background to run a new RFP to expand some of those peak staffing opportunities. There's been some limitations and some challenges on the existing contracts. So we think there's some opportunity by opening out to some more firms that maybe aren't on the books right now. The challenge that we're hearing from many of those agencies is that they're suffering from the same challenges that we are.
Yeah.
We've had it in across the board, actually, planning, building, and code, where there's just shortages of the available peak staffers to help fill those positions. But we're sort of continuing to do everything we can. There's some sort of flexibility as we look at some of those other budget actions, like the sort of urban village piece, where it's sort of more money that's coming in that we can use in different ways versus positions.
Yeah.
So we have the flexibility to work around that and find ways to get this kind of work done.
Okay. And Chris, I'm sorry to put you on the hot seat. I got a couple more here. Just looking at the dashboard, and I appreciate that this dashboard really reflects some really key outputs. And one of them is processing time targets, and how we're doing in meeting those targets. And if you look at the inspections within 24 hours, inspections within 48 hours, I know we're not at our goal, but they're pretty high, 83% and 87%. I guess my concern is I think if you went and talked to a lot of builders, they wouldn't believe these numbers. And can you help me just reconcile what we think we're hearing from the building community and business community versus what we're seeing here?
Yeah, certainly. And obviously, where we've seen sort of some of the biggest impact most recently is sort of within this year that doesn't always get captured by these numbers, but there's a couple of different pieces that go into this. So one, the inflow is limited by our ability to take in projects. And where I referenced that we've had challenges around intake, that's created significant delay on some projects. So if you're waiting 60 to 90 days to get the project in the door.
That's where I hear the pain points.
Right. That's generally the frustration, and that's not triggering those targets.
Right. So this isn't
until they get
measuring
there.
that delay.
No. And so, as Jennifer was saying, we're going to look to all of our performance measures and sort of see if there's ways that we can improve and really relate that to the work that's going on. What I will say is since we started coming to CED last quarter, we've done a lot of work drilling down on what some of those metrics are. Rose and I were just chatting about the presentation for this month. So we're back this month with the next quarter update. It'll dive in on some of those roadblocks and how we're addressing them. So we're doing some strategic targeted actions that will help alleviate some of those issues. On intake specifically, we're sort of working very closely with the staff to sort of hear their input and what are the opportunities to improve. We think as we're going to look to bring back some of the in-person services like Residential Express, where we can give people the immediate feedback and not go through review cycles, because every time we go through a review cycle, it has to get logged, the emails back and forth, it's a slowdown. So if we can get back into the practice of actually interacting with our customers in a very direct way, we'll gain some efficiencies there as well. So that should help reduce some of those pieces.
And you think we'll be able to do that this year?
Yes.
Okay, great. Rachel, I had a question about the affordable housing numbers. Obviously, you and the team are working hard to boost those. The dashboard shows a very low set of numbers for the last couple of years, and as well as the target for next year. And I'm just trying to reconcile that with everything we hear and know. For example, we just had an RFP go out in December, 150 million with almost 1,300 units worth of projects. Developers ready to subscribe and sign up. We've had, in just 1 year, we built more than 300 quick build apartments. We hear the county talking about the thousands and thousands of units. I don't know, it's somewhere north of 3,000 units that they've built with Measure A. We know the majority of those are in the city of San Jose. Why aren't we seeing those numbers in any of our charts?
So the charts that are in front of you are really focused on completions. And I think what's very healthy is our pipeline and what we have funding that isn't going to be showing up on that. So, but I think what we're seeing right now in our completions is a result of struggling to finance affordable housing for the last 2 years. And really, as you're very aware, we've had a difficult time receiving bond allocations at SIDLAC.
Yeah.
And so the state is actually really working to free that up. We have now some accelerator funds that have been, the purpose is to move through this backlog. And so in the next 90 days, we are hoping to close several of those so that they can actually pull building permits and begin. And so the problem is we had a lull with SIDLAC, and that's what we're seeing right now.
Yeah.
But we have a very healthy pipeline, and that's where we're going to continue to work as hard as we can to push everything through to get the ones that have been around for a long time financed.
Right.
And then go ahead and get the other projects entitled and get ready to go with our other financing. And we have been working with the county and the housing authority to strategically position projects for next round so that we're not competing with ourselves, but we're putting forward like the best projects we can with every round.
Yeah.
And really trying to queue up every opportunity to be successful and not spend a bunch of time applying, but instead just doing it one time, get funded, and move on.
So are the numbers that we see here, are these including what the county is describing in their Measure A program?
This would include county projects. It's not exclusive of that.
Okay, but if we just go to the 2021 numbers, the 216 are listed. I know we've built 3 quick build apartment communities, what I call them EIHCs, that have more than that just with those 3 projects alone. And I would assume that would be affordable housing. Folks are living in those units
So what
for free.
the way that we've defined that measure over time is that it is measuring permanent housing. So it's going to be apartments where people have leases and are living in permanent affordable housing. So that's how we've defined that measure.
Okay.
Mhm.
I mean, I understand it's not the same as building the standard typical apartment building. But if it's, essentially a private bathroom with a private bedroom and a door and a lock and a key, I'm not sure why we wouldn't say that's a housing unit, because people we know are going to live in there. I mean, we're expecting to keep these things for 25 years, right?
I definitely think that's something that we can consider, and we've struggled with it. Our teams have
Yeah.
like tried to put our heads together and figure out how we treat these, because again, the definition of that measure has been in place for so many years, and so we want to keep the data consistent. Um, but I think that we could one thing that we've all thought about is that maybe we could have a companion measure that's also showing how much we're growing in the area of creating interim housing, because
Right.
it's not reflected there, but I think together they really tell a story, right?
Right.
Because we're doing both, and they address needs of different populations, but they all work together. So that's definitely something we'd like to think about for the next round. I think it would make sense to couple the data together.
I think that'd be really important, Rachel, especially as you've given us goals, so we can start measuring towards that, so we can
Yeah.
look at both elements, and so we can as part of our performance review, maybe modernize that one.
That would be great. I think since
Yeah.
particularly we've set it as a city goal, I think that would be helpful. Thank you. Um, and then I guess really appreciate the overview page that provided a lot of information about digital improvements to customer service and staff processes, Chris. And I'm wondering, to what extent do we expect these improvements, like using, self-administer online processes for kitchen and bathroom permits and online intake processes and all that? Are we able to see any difference in our ability to process faster?
So I think we will, sort of moving towards the end of the year, as we really start to see, some of these improvements kick in. So we've moved to a lot of online self-administered permits most recently. And so as a result, as we move through the next stage of improvements to the SJ permits and the project docs that we're working through the transformation process, there'll be more opportunity for folks to actually start their applications online. The intent is to then sort of move those sort of application intakes, to make them much shorter, to give us more efficiency and get, again, sort of more things in the door so we can reduce that backlog on the backlog.
Great.
Right now, I think we're doing about 9,000 permits a year, sort of through that online portal. So it is creating a lot of opportunity for us to gain new efficiency.
Okay, thanks, Chris. And then I guess my last question, Nancy, I think would be for Jeff Ruster, but feel free to jump in. If not, I'll happy to take it offline. If we look at the outcomes and the performance goals, they're described on page 263. I'm really glad that we're tracking carefully the number of clients Work the Future who are employed 6 months after their initial placement. I think that's super important. And the number that are placed into jobs, or the percentage rather. What I've noticed is that our actuals are actually higher than our target for next year. And I'm guessing I'm guessing that some of this is set by the EDD, some of these standards, but if we're the ones setting the targets, assuming we are, why wouldn't we want to set higher targets for ourselves?
Yeah. Hi, good afternoon, Mayor and
Oh,
Council. This is
okay.
Jeff Ruster
Hey, Jeff.
with the Office of Economic Development. Yes, Mayor, you are correct. These standards are set by EDD. We do get a chance to negotiate with them on an annual basis, but to be frank, sometimes those negotiations happen after the year has already started.
Yeah.
But it is set by EDD, the Employment Development Department.
Okay, great. Well, I appreciate that we're certainly doing a good job keeping folks employed. I know it's a huge challenge, and I'm hoping that this childcare funding that would be coming in this budget will help to keep even more people employed, because that's a huge barrier
It
for an
definitely
awful
will.
lot of parents. So thanks, Jeff.
Yeah.
All right, those are all the questions I have. Go back to my colleagues. Nope. Okay. I guess that was it then. Thanks, you guys.
Sorry,
Thanks for your patience.
Councilmember Arenas just put
Oh,
her hand up.
Councilmember Arenas?
I apologize. I always hit that button a little later. So I have just a couple of questions around the small business grants. And I know that there is a grant program open now until the 30th. But from what I understand, there's a lottery system to determine who are those select recipients for a $5,000 to $15,000 awards that will help businesses with owing back rent. Are we already determining that the group of folks who will be in this lottery are the neediest of our small business applicants? Why aren't we using a more equity-based approach?
Councilmember, thank you for that excellent question. I want to ask Blogate to give the first response, and I believe that she's on.
Thank you.
Yes, good afternoon. Oh, I don't know what's happening with my computer. Good afternoon, Councilmember Arenas and council members. So yes, we are doing a lottery system so that each one of the businesses that submits an application kind of has an equal chance of receiving a grant. But what we are doing is basically what we found in the kind of initial rounds of funding was that very small businesses, so businesses with less than 10 employees, did not receive as much grant funding, federal or otherwise, as larger businesses. So what we've done with this program is we have limited the businesses that are eligible for the program at the onset to those with less than 10 employees. So we were trying to be very focused about targeting small business. And then in those three revenue categories, so up to 1 million, up to 2 million, up to 3 million, with the three different grant disbursement amounts. And so what we also had found was that in limiting it to those businesses that are under and less 10 and less employees, we would in essence be providing more support for BIPOC owned businesses.
I agree. I think that's a great criteria, a way to really filter out some of those micro and small businesses. But there's also circumstances that might be looming. For example, there's a small business out in my area that is owing in back rent, and they've pivoted, they've done all they can to change the way that they approach business and to expand. I think we need to determine whether any of these small businesses are on the verge of getting shut down versus just having a lottery. We might be able to line those up with the lottery. We just might get lucky, right? And have the right company in place to receive the services. But I see how you created equity within how you filtered the companies. I still think that there is one more layer, and that's who is more in jeopardy of really getting shut down versus those who aren't. Are we considering that at all?
We absolutely are, in the sense that all of the folks, part of the reason why we have partnered with SBDC Access to administer and manage the program is that they have kind of the unique position of coming with, for lack of a better word, kind of wraparound business services. And so all of the applicants, whether they receive a grant or not, are going to get a free referral to those business support services. So we are trying to do kind of, we are trying to the best of our ability to make sure that folks, whether they get a grant or not, are getting other technical services, whether that be financial access to capital, or any other sort of technical services that they need. And we're happy to, by the way, if there's a specific business that you were thinking about that you just mentioned, we're happy to obviously be connected directly with that business and figure out what services we can connect them to serve their needs.
Yes, thank you. And you did. You've already reached out to this
Okay.
small business, and thank you very much for doing that. I think that our resources are very limited, and so they need to be able to find additional resources, or although that's limited out there anyways. So my next question about this is, how will we determine that businesses throughout all of San Jose receive an opportunity? In other words, that the businesses in my district, as well as those in the South Side or Pbce or downtown, those areas that don't necessarily have a business association that keeps them in the loop about the latest of the latest.
Absolutely. So obviously that takes kind of a multi-prong approach. And quite honestly, you all as council members are one of our biggest conduits through your regular newsletters and your regular communications to your constituents. And so in addition to the messaging that we have already provided, we're happy to provide whatever other messaging might fit kind of your communication vehicles. In addition to that, we are doing, actually next week, we're doing our second webinar on this program. So we have blasted that through our SJ Economy. And then also our partner in this, Access SBDC, has a very broad reach into communities of color and the communities in our city that have those small business folks. And they're using their communications mechanisms. More specifically, we're doing Spanish and Vietnamese TV, and we are messaging, and we're utilizing our BOSS partnership, our business owner space technical assistance providers, to get the word out also. So we are trying to have as comprehensive an outreach and communications plan of attack as possible, but certainly open to any other ideas that you or any of your colleagues have on getting the word out.
I appreciate that. I think we have a small business association that we funded last year for Tully Road, as you well know, Blage, that it's getting up and going, or at least it's in the middle of the process. So it hasn't been established yet. And, this group, when they're up and going, are going to miss a lot of these opportunities. What's the next phase of support? What does that look like?
The next phase of support for
Small
business specifically?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's kind of the ongoing phase, right? We have, the grant that we have right now for debt relief is obviously fantastic because it's physically, and literally money that we can give to people. But as you said yourself, we don't have, unfortunately, a large kind of cash outlay that we're able to give. But what we are doing is on a variety of different fronts, beefing up our small business assistance, our small business outreach, as you said, putting in place those business district managers out at Tully Road and along the Monterey corridor. We're working to strengthen the services that our boss partners provide, the business owner space, the free technical assistance. And we are continuing to do our twice monthly, biz walks out in the commercial corridors that have been hit the hardest, to listen to what business owners are saying and what assistance can most be helpful to them. So we're trying to implement a multi-pronged approach to being connected to the business community, and then also obviously participating in the community and recovery task force that's happening right now in the small business subcommittee to be able to help facilitate ideas that are being generated in that forum.
Right. We will look forward to connecting with you on a small business walk. As you might have heard, Eastridge has been hit with grab and goes at jewelry stores a number of times now. Even with our the last capture, the burglars from the last grab and go, which I'm really grateful to our police department that they accomplished that, but it doesn't really stop other folks from continuing to try. And so, we have a number of gas stations and Eastridge small businesses that continue to have these grab and go. It's creating an unsafe environment, and I really would hate to have a reduction of foot traffic into Eastridge, as they've done, I think, a really good job during the pandemic of continuing to have that. So anyways, I'll follow up with you offline. Thank you. Those were my questions.
Councilmember, if I may add, I just wanted to make sure we were bringing out one of the points that Blage said, is that we really want to, in addition to everything else that the two of you discussed, make sure that we're continuing to add capacity, support the community-based organizations that are in turn giving assistance to a lot of others. So that's really important. We're really keen on language, so that we're making sure we're working very intentfully in Spanish and Vietnamese for sure. And some of the things, so what you brought up, example about Eastridge and gas stations makes so much sense. And what we're working toward arranging is having opportunities with PD for businesses to ask questions and get pointers from the police. We have done that on a limited basis in the past, and it was very well received in the instances we were able to do that. And we're also looking, there are gaps. We believe there are more community-based organizations that would be really helpful in San Jose, and looking to work to bring in additional services to address needs that maybe aren't being sufficiently met now.
I appreciate that. I think that there's a lot that is going on in the downtown area, and that is the most attractive place for our residents. I certainly enjoy a lot of afternoons on the weekends when, not currently, but throughout the years, I've loved to be in the downtown area when time permits, and I would love for our residents to also feel that way about Evergreen, and to feel that way about Pbce, and to feel that same way about the East Side, and just all different parts of our city that have a certain quality to them and characteristic that we want to protect. So I know that making sure that our small businesses are doing well is key to that. And I know that we've lost many small businesses in our area, but and those who have stayed, I want to make sure that we support them. So anyways, thank you so much, Nancy. I appreciate that.
All right, any other questions? All right, thank you. Thanks you guys for coming back. Appreciate the additional time. We'll now move on to our transportation CSA. Welcome, John and John, teams.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, council members. John Aiken, Director of Aviation. With me is Kim Hawk, Deputy Director of Finance for the airport, and John Risto, Director of Transportation. So we'll work through our slides here. So this first one, okay, this first one sets up the core services for each of our departments, for the airport and then for transportation. These are sample programs within each department that are fully listed in the budget document. And then our performance measures, the top row is for the airport on different metrics, and then the bottom row is for transportation. And then this is kind of an overview for the CSA. The top section is the budget. The bottom section is personnel. And you can see CSA totals on there as well. And then we'll get into the airport specific slides. This year we're really focused on still recovery of air transportation industry. We're a little over 70% of the 2019 numbers right now. The reduction in global travel bans is helping us. Like I've mentioned before, we're starting back London next month. Airlines are restoring flights, so we're adding back the destinations and adding back frequencies. The airlines are adding seats, capacity, additional flights, and destinations. The key points in the budget for the airport, we've got 8 positions added. We have the green electricity service from community energy and autonomous wheelchair program, and then some capital development stuff that we're gonna get geared up. Summary for the airport, we're still focused on growing passenger traffic and nonstop destinations. We still want to provide outstanding customer service and amenities, maintain a competitive CPE in the rates for the airlines, and we're going to start proceeding with our precursor projects for the eventual new terminal project that'll be starting hopefully in the next few years. And then I'll turn it over to John.
Thank you, John. John Russo, Director of Transportation. I just want to highlight a couple of our service delivery goals here with regard to the first 3 really, and it was talked about this morning during public safety about our Vision Zero action plan, all about our highest priority being system safety on our transportation network. Another priority is what we're also working hard on, which is the deferred maintenance of the whole system, primarily in the regards to pavement. And now that we've got a tree program, we want to really get after that as well. And then looking forward to the new types of projects that are going to enhance the city from an urban standpoint, part Silicon Valley, and the convergence of a number of transit systems at Sheridan Station. Highlighting some of our budget items, as I mentioned, our community forest management plan was a big effort for us to get our arms around what we needed to do to reverse the trend of the reducing the tree canopy. So we're going to focus on that and thank the council and mayor for prioritizing funding for that project. And then under the beautification of the city, we definitely have a role to play in there with landscape. And then also in terms of our vehicle abatement, thankfully that we're going to get a little bit more funding to actually enhance that program and actually hopefully improve on that over this next year. In summary, the system is important to us in terms of how we operate it in a safe and efficient manner for all roadway users. That's really one of our goals. And main tenets of what we do. We are building out and planning a transportation system that meets the needs of our growing city, as I mentioned earlier, and then also organizational and community capacity to protect and preserve our existing forests. So I'm going to stop there, and we are ready for any questions. Thank you.
Thanks, John. All right, let's go to council. Invite my colleagues to raise their hands. If not, you'll be subjected to my questions. All right, I guess I'm jumping in. First, Kim and John, I just wanted to say thank you for managing through a really tough time at the airport. We know it's tough on airports throughout the country, and particularly ours because we're so dependent on business travel. And I also want to say thank you really for leaning in on a lot of really interesting innovations. I love the autonomous wheelchair concept that you're piloting, which is fantastic. I love the Zoom zone. Lord knows if someone's stuck on a delay, having your kids be a little more entertained is a huge benefit to a lot of parents. And everything that Alaska's trying to do with us around different ideas. The biometrics, I know that's controversial, but I think it's absolutely worth exploring. And you know, the check-in self bag drop system, things like that. I think it's great that they're using us as sort of the incubator, and I hope that, you know, that's something that will be contagious for a whole city. I think it's a great thing. First question is just about the autonomous wheelchair program. When do we expect that will launch?
So at the time we put in this budget ad for the pilot, there was one company that had an autonomous wheelchair device, and that's the one that you saw out at the airport operating.
Yeah.
Since then, there has been another one, and then a local company that's almost ready. So we're looking at the most advantageous way to try a couple different technologies, really make it a pilot. So it's probably going to be later this fall before we figure out how to bring both in or all three in to really test them against each other. But we're committed to it. In addition to, we are bringing back the golf cart service, and we're getting actually new golf carts, more like you see at the other airports where there's a spine down the middle and you kind of sit back to back along the side, so it can negotiate our very narrow concourses.
Right.
So that will be coming back too. So I think we're very focused on helping the people that need assistance on the walk.
That's great. 'Cause I'm guessing you feel the same way. The only complaint I ever hear about the airport is that it's a long walk, and particularly for seniors and those with disabilities, it's a really good thing that we're creating more options for them. I had a couple questions, John Risto, about the performance data that's listed on the dashboard about injury crashes per capita. It would appear, just roughly from looking at that graph, that the numbers have gone down a bit in the last half decade or so. Am I reading that right?
Yeah, very slightly, and it's a very small number. This is not measuring our fatalities that we're currently underway, but yes.
So even though we've seen this awful spike in fatalities in the last year and a half or so, the actual number of injury crashes is dropping.
If you're looking at that, yeah, it's very, very small. I wouldn't put too much into that very tiny little number, but yes, you can see that the trend is up, but then we're looking at it as a forecast slightly downward too.
Oh, and the forecast, yeah, no, I'm looking more at the going back to 2015, because I know before 2015.
Oh, you're going all the way back on the chart? Yeah.
Yeah, right. And I'm
It's
just
flat.
looking at, and I know if we were to go further back, we'd even have a higher rate of injury crashes, because my recollection was we saw over about a decade or two a significant drop of injury crashes on our roadways. So I guess I just want to understand the larger trend here, because it seems as though we're certainly seeing the most severe outcomes of deaths have spiked horribly, but the overall trend of injury crashes is either stable or slightly downward.
That's correct, although it's small, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's a very small trend downward.
Is there anything you make of all that?
Going back to 2015, I'm not sure I can actually pinpoint one thing. You know, I
Yeah.
know that we've been focused on redoing and rebuilding and refocusing on our transportation system. And everyone knows we built out as a city for mostly automobiles and very large roadways. We spent the last 10 years actually trying to address that. So it could be something like that. I'm not sure that I can completely attribute it to that, but I think it's an overall that what we're trying to do with the policy we've put in place and then the practices that we've been trying to put in place with this. But beyond that, I'm not sure I could attribute anything to that.
Okay. And I know that, you know, we've all been throwing a lot of ideas at you, and there are more ideas than there are dollars. But I'm just curious, based on whatever you and your team have reviewed over the last several months, because I know this has been a big concern for everyone. Are there any other innovative approaches that haven't been tried here that you're looking at elsewhere in the country thinking, you know, maybe we should try something like that?
In terms of traffic safety or any
Yes,
kind of
around
innovation?
safety,
Traffic
yeah.
safety. I think we are seeing what some other cities are doing in terms of more aggressive treatments on roadways, and I think we're ready to start to consider some of those. But we're pretty much up to speed in terms of what we're trying to do with our quick build system and our quick build projects,
Right.
traffic safety, our review of all the crashes, working very closely with the police department. Being understaffed in both departments is tough, and not having the resources to actually remake a city like this as fast as we would want to. I think that's probably our biggest issue is we'd like to put a lot more out there in terms of changing the physical makeup of the roadway system. So it's just a matter of resources to be able to
Right.
do that.
And then finally, you know, I'm being particularly sensitive about the addition of positions because I am concerned about the economic headwinds right now and what that might mean for us, you know, next year if we're hiring folks that we're not able to hang on to. And I'm looking at particularly on the community forest management plan. We're adding 2 construction inspector positions. Do you have any sense, and if you want to offer this offline, that's fine. I understand the focus here is around meeting some goals around planting trees, which I certainly support, and pruning trees, but I'm just trying to understand why we need 2 inspectors.
Right now, we don't have the field inspection staff to be able to do what council's asking us to do in terms of that pretty aggressive tree planting program. And also from trying to arrest or turn the tides on where we are with regard to the decreasing canopy right now in terms of just how we're dealing with permits to remove trees, illegal or permitted. So those 2 positions are going to help us do both those things, get aggressive on planting and more up to speed in terms of where our permitting is.
So do we have a backlog on requests for permits to take trees down? Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, I don't think we have a backlog as much as that it just does take time to do those requests. And, you know, we want to investigate them to make sure that we're going to permit trees that are, you know, responsibly need to be taken out versus those that somebody wants to take out that, you know, maybe would not be at the right time right now. We do get quite a few of those kind of
Okay.
requests.
All right. I'll turn to my colleagues. Thanks, John. Questions from any colleagues? All right. I'm the only blabbermouth here, apparently. So, hey, everybody, have a great day. Okay, we're going on to environment. Okay, we'll take on the environment and utility services CSA next.
Good afternoon, Mayor Council. We are waiting for Zach Strike from Clean Energy.
Okay. I know we're moving a little faster than expected.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I was impressed by John's presentation there. I will try to have some brevity as well too.
No me.
Nap, do you want to take a minute or two and?
No,
until-
I think I'll just start.
Okay,
I'm doing the
sure.
presentation and hopefully Zach will be able to get down here
Sounds
by the
good.
time we get to question and Q&A.
Great.
All right, Mayor Council, good afternoon. Nap Fukuda, Assistant Director, Environmental Services Department, and I'm here with Nick Ajluni, our Administrative Officer, as well as John Risto, Deputy Director of Transportation, and as I said, oh, here he comes. Zach's on his way, Assistant Director with Clean Energy. Oh, here we go. ESD, Department of Transportation, as well as Clean Energy, make up the Environment and Utility Service, CSA. Listed here are core services that these departments provide. Oops, excuse me, too fast. Up. Sampling of the programs provided by the CSA are listed here, with a couple listed in the proposed budget. You're familiar with most of these, as you can see, which include municipal water system, recycled water, garbage and recycling, the treatment plant, as well as renewable energy sources and local energy programs, and sanitary and storm sewer operations and maintenance. Here are our CSA performance measure dashboard items. As you see by the arrows on the right, in general, we continue good progress on many and continue to improve on others. Our number of SSOs per 100 miles of sanitary sewer line has been relatively consistent between 1.5 and 2. As the system continues to age, we will need to put more effort into preventing these SSOs. Our delivery of recycled water have also remained consistent at around 4,000 MGDs annually, million gallons delivered annually. With continued drought conditions, we expect some increase in usage. I know the scale on this graph is a little misleading. Apologize for that. If we had started from 0 rather than starting at 3,900, it would show really just the 2.5% difference between that bar. I know it looks like a big drop, but really it's relatively small. San Jose Clean Energy continues to increase delivery of energy from renewable and carbon neutral sources. Trash load reduction in the storm sewer system continues to improve and is now over 100% based on stormwater permit guidelines. I realize it's a little awkward, but you may recall there are some credits and offsets that the city gets for its plastic bag ban, as well as styrofoam ban, and homeless encampment cleanup efforts. So the math goes above 100% for compliance through the stormwater system. As recycled water usage increases, as mentioned earlier, millions of gallons per day diverted from flow to the bay is also benefited and it increases. Lastly, the percent of waste diverted from landfills continues to improve. And although we did see a decrease during the COVID shutdown, we do anticipate a continued uptick in the coming years. Overall, the proposed budget for the environmental services, transportation, and community energy departments within the environment and utility services CSA is proposed at $813 million for an overall increase of approximately 10%. And you'll see about a 2% increase in staffing. And just to be clear, as John was here in the last presentation, this is just a portion of transportation budget actions. As far as service delivery environment, the departments, the CSA continues to focus on delivering effective operations and capital improvements of its sanitary and storm system, as well as the regional wastewater facility, expanding our efforts to reach our climate goals, including promoting and serving clean, renewable energy to 350,000 residents. And lastly, community water, focusing on our drought impacts into the future. A few notable proposals. Through the 22-23 proposed budget, we are increasing investment, ensuring our utilities continue effective operation, and are also expanding climate smart implementation and climate and seismic resiliency per the mayor and council direction. Climate Smart San Jose has proposed the addition of permanent staff and non-personnel funding to update and implement the Climate Smart Plan initiatives and the carbon neutral by 2030 goal approved by council in late 2021. The Community Energy Department seeks additional staff to expand programs in strategic support and customer service, and the Transportation Department continues maintenance and operation of the storm sewer system to protect the community and our local waterways, and is seeking additional staff and equipment for full trash capture systems, street sweeping, and storm and sanitary sewer pump station upgrades. ESD is seeking some much-needed investment in the maintenance of the South Bay Water recycling system. And in response to the mayor's budget message, the Climate and Seismic Resiliency Program includes funding for staff in multiple departments to expand on efforts related to seismic and climate resiliency, including drought, recycled water expansion, open space preservation, energy projects, and seismic safety. And lastly, a few things at the facility. The laboratory is requesting funds to replace and upgrade aging equipment in that program. And the regional wastewater facility has proposed funds for operations and maintenance, including the addition of staffing for the process control system, which we have recently recalled our automation engineer group, as the RWF continues to modernize through the $1.4 billion 30-year CIP. In summary, the city continues investment in its critical infrastructure, also continuing its leadership in climate and resiliency, looking toward a more sustainable future and prepare for future challenges, including providing the community with clean energy options at a competitive rate. And with that, we are here for any questions.
Thanks, Nat. All right, let's go to council. Suddenly, everybody went quiet. Okay, I'm not seeing any raised hands, so I'll just jump in, I guess. Quick question about Muni Water. Obviously, big increase, 12%. How much of that is the wholesale cost increase from Valley Water? Of the 12? Your mic's off now.
Oh, sorry about that. From a budget perspective, 70% of our budget, Muni Water's budget, is for wholesale water costs. So at the moment, the latest we've heard from Valley Water is they're projecting 15% rate increases for the next 2 years, with 10% following 7 years is the last I heard. Although I heard they may have recently voted on that last night. So from a percentage basis on the rate of the 17%?
Yeah, it sounds like if they're proposing 15%, that's pretty much our entire increase. So.
It's the majority, yes.
And that number has gone up quite a bit because I know they were proposing 9% and change only a few months ago.
Correct.
Is that spurred entirely by drought charges, or what's driving the number?
It's drought. It's reduction. It's a combination of many things, as I think you're familiar with the reduction, drought-related reduction in revenues, which again I know is counterintuitive, but when the revenues go down, their costs are still there. They have capital projects that they're paying for, so therefore the rates themselves go up.
Right.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, actually, you answered all my questions. I had the questions that you addressed on the trash reduction, the percentages, and so forth. I know I had one more question, but apparently it's escaped me. John, since you're still here, and this is roughly environmental, I thought I could just ask you a couple more questions about trees since you're here. Thank you. You're very kind. Nothing like having another bite at the apple. So in the tree planting program and so forth, there's no mention of resilience core, and at least in the description about the addition of 5 positions and so forth. And I'm wondering, are you expecting, who's going to do the planting, I guess?
Well, it's a good question, and we're going to need to reach out to our partners on this. Our city forest is going to need to be a big player here. We may have to do some contracting out if they can't handle the amount that we're intending to do. And I think we talked about this when we were doing the community forest management plan about trying to engage with some of those other groups like Resilience Corps and others. So I know there was some limits, and I'm trying to remember what was some of the issues with that regarding being able to use them right away. And I think it had something to do with some of the training we needed to put them through. But we intend to use anybody and everybody that we can to make being able to plant 1,000 trees a year is
Yeah.
going to be a challenge.
I just appreciate all the work that's been done already by so many folks, Jeff Ruster, Joe Bourne, and their teams to get this resilience score up and running. And I'd like to believe if we've got other programs where young people can be contributing in some significant way, support our city, we could keep the program running without having to go get grant funding from somebody else if it's a part of a program that we're trying to push. And certainly I appreciate we want to support our city force as well, but I understand that we're looking at a significant capacity increase here, right?
Yeah, we got to scale up this quite a bit.
Yeah.
As, the last time we were planting trees, we did 20, and it took an army to do that. If you remember that a couple of
Right.
weeks ago.
Yeah. Well, I don't recall doing that much work, actually.
Yeah.
I think I just
So
showed up for the photo.
We've got
but-
to scale this up pretty significantly.
Yeah.
So we're going to use everybody we can
Okay.
get.
All right, great. And then finally, also related loosely to the environment, PG&E's gone through 18,000 installation of 18,000 LEDs. Where are we on smart controllers?
I think we're going to be reporting on that. We got Measure T report coming up in a week or two.
Yeah.
We're right now trying to figure out which controllers that we were able to afford, and then still budget through Measure T for that. So we will be able to report on that. I don't know if I remember exactly where we are with that, but
Okay.
we're trying to get, we do have some low-level controllers on the existing LEDs, the streetlights that we have, and now the ones that we added, we do not have those. But yes, we're trying to get something that would at least give us some capability to manage the lights themselves.
Okay, great. All right. Any other questions from my colleagues? Okay, you guys are off the hook. Nice work. All right, we're going next to neighborhood services. Here we go. Welcome, John and team.
Okay, good afternoon. John Cicerelli, Director of Parks, Recreation, Neighborhood Services. We're here to present on the Neighborhood Services CSA. And nice to see we're right back on track, even a touch early after we were getting off track this morning. So I'm going to hand it over to CJ Ryan. She's the Administrative Officer for Parks, Recreation, Neighborhood Services. She's going to run through the highlights of the budget for our CSA. And then, of course, we'll be here for any questions or comments. Thank you.
All right, good afternoon. As John said, I'm CJ Ryan, Administrative Officer for Parks, Recreation, and Neighborhood Services. With us here today, we have the Library, Planning, Building, and Code Enforcement, and Public Works Departments. So this year's budget is about leading out of crisis to what we hope will be a more stable environment. We hope not just for normalcy, but we aspire to provide better services, more welcoming facilities and spaces, and have better outcomes for our community members than we did before we entered the pandemic. On this slide, you'll see a reminder of the core services of each of our departments. And here you have samples of our neighborhood services programs. On our dashboard, I'm going to go through a few of these for everyone. On the left-hand side, you're going to first see that we don't really have any results for the library point of service survey, which in this instance, point of service means that these are customer surveys conducted in person. Since our branches were closed over these last 2 fiscal years, these surveys were not conducted. On the bottom left, you are seeing the Parks Condition Assessment Score, or PCA. We're using a new methodology, so we only have 1 year of information here. We have created a new tool in order to assess our parks after we implemented new park maintenance standards, and we're looking forward to years in the future where we can compare our progress. There are areas for us to improve on going forward. In the middle top, you'll see that the customer service point of service surveys are showing a dip in the percent of participants rating city efforts at providing recreational opportunities as good or excellent. We believe this has to do with both the limited offerings that we've been able to provide, as well as a very small sample of customer surveys that were returned to us. In the middle, on the bottom row, you'll see our Animal Care Center live release rate. And even though it's got a big red arrow on it, you'll see that the percentage point is only 1 point less than target, and it is 1 point higher than last year. So we're hoping that it will keep improving as we're adding resources to this team in the coming year. And then on the bottom right, the percent of units inspected fell short of target. As discussed earlier today, vacancies in this department have created a significant backlog, and that's reflected in the performance measure here. We do have a bright spot. On the top right, you'll observe that the parents and caregivers that are attending the early education programs have been reporting an increased ability to support their child's literacy growth. It is estimated to be higher this year than last year. And we are expecting that as the library continues to expand access to programming, continual program improvement, and continuing to implement the early education quality standards, that number will continue to rise. For our budget summary, you will notice that the library and PRNS budgets show a minor reduction overall. And this has to do with less one-time federal funding and some technical adjustments. In PRNS, our American Rescue Plan decrease, our allocation has decreased by about $11 million from last year, and we no longer have an allocation in the emergency fund. Even with that, though, the department is going to be receiving an increase of $9.8 million in ongoing allocations that were previously one-time funded. The library is also showing a small reduction. This is also a combination of less federal funding and an interdepartmental transfer, while there are some incremental increases in the general fund and library parcel tax allocations. As we talk about the service delivery environment, you know, I mentioned before, we're leading out of crisis. We're really focusing on bringing back our services to full in-person models while keeping those online services that have a big impact. Most of our services are already back in person. For example, you know, the one that in PRNS we're really excited about coming back this summer is going to be our senior nutrition program, should be back to its full in-person model as of July 1. The library branches are open, and they're also going to be continuing vital in-person and virtual online programs and e-resource collections, continuing to provide hotspots and technology devices, and continue essential educational programs such as the Career Online High School and Homework Clubs. The other piece that's key to understand, which we've heard a lot about today, is the understaffing that's leading to retention challenges, to backlogs, and service delivery impacts in all of our departments. You know, in this context, we're not referring only to under-budgeted positions to accomplish our goals, but also significant vacancy rates that are impacting services. So in code enforcement, we saw that greater separations than hires has created a backlog that is now being measured in years and not months. At Animal Care Services, resignations from the medical and shelter team has caused operational challenges, including public spay and neuter service interruption, increased workload for staff, and limited medical staffing. At PRNS, our community centers, while open to the public, have not been able to be open at their full schedule because of vacancies. And at the library, we're still managing a workload that started as an emergency response, and supply chain issues are impacting the implementation of projects. So sourcing qualified candidates that want to commit to working for the city of San Jose has been a challenge, and we'll have to continue to work with the rest of the organization to determine what are the factors that will increase our ability to attract and retain a qualified workforce. So I will say, despite that challenge, our teams are dedicated to continuing to provide the highest quality services to our residents. You'll see in our highlights that across the departments, we're focusing on equity, on serving our most vulnerable residents, and resuming normal operations. These proposed budget actions are just highlights. There's about $33 million up there of a $273 million proposed budget for this CSA. In the equity, diversity, and inclusion staffing, PRNS, the library, and Pbce will be hiring limited-term staff in order to focus on improving all of our efforts to advance racial equity and embed a racial equity lens in service delivery and communications. We'll be allocating a little over $5 million to the digital equity and device access and community Wi-Fi efforts. We'll also be allocating $10.5 million to our child care services and child and youth master plan. We are excited that the placemaking team, after several years of being one-time funded, is now going to be an ongoing program. And the Beautify San Jose consolidated model, you'll see, is $11 million allocated to that team, a little over $4 million of which this year will be made ongoing in the general fund. And then in PRNS, the pest and turf management team will be making 11 positions, again, that have been funded on a one-time basis. We're happy that they're going to be made ongoing in order to improve the turf conditions at our parks. In code enforcement, in the policy and program policy team, we're going to, and in the fee programs, we'll be increasing the staffing. And at the library, the branch hours for lower resource communities will have $916,000 allocated. And we're excited that the animal care and service staffing team will have additional positions added in order to address critical support to shelter, field, and medical services. So in summary, we want to highlight that our departments have always focused on communities in need, and our role in that has been magnified during the pandemic. As we move to long-term operations and programming, we're building an organization that we aim to be better able to address the disparities in our community. We'll be trying to sustain what we have provided to the community by making structural changes, such as increasing budgeted staff to address important gaps. We want to be sure that all of our public spaces are safe and inclusive for everyone, and our departments play a key role in improving the quality of life for all of our residents. Thank you, and we are available for questions.
Thank you, CJ. Let's go to the council questions. Councilmember Carrasco?
Thanks, Mayor. Thank you so much for the presentation. So I have quite a number of questions. I know that you're going to refer me back to the budget, but I'm going to ask you not to and just give me the details on it, because you know, you can tell me which page it's on, but I haven't looked through this extensive binder. Would you? I want you were referring to the animal care service, so let's start there. And I know that there's vacancies, and we've had a lull in some of the services. So can you address that quickly and tell me what's happening there? I know that I've had some concerns from some residents that they haven't been able to get some services that they had before. I know things are very different right now. But would you tell me some of the services that have been on pause?
Hi, good afternoon, Mayor, Council Member Jay Torado, Deputy Director over at Animal Care and Services. Thank you for the question. Some of the services in our field unit, none of those services have been paused, and that team is fortunately fully staffed right now, and so none of the field services have experienced any pause in services. With our administration and customer service, we have some vacancies there, but they've continued to provide customer service and support the front desk. In our shelter and medical team, that's where we're seeing some of our challenges when it comes to staffing. Um, and its day-to-day operation is going to be um, affected depending on the staff. So for our shelter team, some of the things that we've addressed is trying to really minimize the number of animals that are coming into the shelter. And when I say minimize, is if it's a healthy animal that's a cat, then we'll always try to have the community member return the cat to the field if it's healthy. But if it's injured or sick, or the circumstances don't allow for the animal to be returned, whether it's a cat, dog, or rabbit, then we will take those in. But those are decisions that are made day by day. And then with our medical team, which has been one of the hardest units hit, there's in the last 2 weeks, we've had a pause in our um, spay neuter services towards the public, and some of our animals require surgery within the shelter, but those are typically routine surgeries, and but that was because of staffing. But we have a little bit of some staff that have returned this week, and so we started some surgeries, but primarily right now we're focusing on internal animals only.
So I'm sorry, you're going to, if you can clarify, I heard you say in the beginning that none of the services have been on pause, and now you're saying that some of them were. So is the low cost spay and neuter on pause or not on pause?
Right now, depending on the day, it has been on pause for 2 weeks, but we are gaining some of the staff back that can help support that, and so we're starting to identify when we're able to resume those services.
So they are on pause.
Yes, currently, right now.
Okay, so they are on pause. Okay, and I've had residents that have been trying to get their pets fixed actually for months and have not been successful. So I'm not sure what the issue has been over the last 6 months. We can talk about that offline. But do we no longer have also the catch and release program for feral cats?
Thank you, Council Member. We still do, and again, that depends highly on the team's ability to offer spay and neuter services. Currently, we have been in discussions with our community partners and other shelters within Santa Clara County to see if they have the capacity to whether we can redirect some of these folks to their shelter or help us out with some of the animals that we need to have surgeries on.
Okay. And I'll just tell you that I've adopted a colony of cats because it's such an issue in my own neighborhood, and just to kind of keep them contained, I've basically have adopted them because I have nowhere to take them to get them fixed, and I've been looking desperately for a catch and release program. So if you could send me information that we can also disseminate to our district, that would be great. But we've really have run into a brick wall, and we've been trying to find these services, not just for my neighborhood, but for the district, because District 5 has a real issue with feral cats. And my understanding is that this has really been an explosion of kitty cats throughout the pandemic. Um, and is this just an issue of due to vacancies?
Councilmember, this is Matt Kano, Director of Public Works. I just want to add something real quick, and Jay will help answer the question that you just asked as well on whether this is just due to vacancies. Last night, we did issue an MBA providing just a little bit more update on the current conditions that are, I would say, a combination of vacancies and maybe just a long time of maybe staff making it work with maybe not as many resources as they needed. And so it's, I think, really a combination of things, but definitely the vacancies are a primary reason why why we're having reduced service levels right now. There's a number of items that we're working on. In addition to prioritizing hiring within Public Works, and also Jennifer Shembry's team in Human Resources is helping us prioritize hiring with some of her team members as well. In addition to that, we know that hiring doesn't magically happen overnight, no matter how quickly you work. And so there's a number of mitigations we're looking at, really working with our partners, looking inside Public Works. We've started pushing some, or not pushing some, providing some additional resources to the shelter from other areas of Public Works. And so to answer your last question again on whether this is just due to the vacancies, we're definitely seeing a challenge right now because of the vacancies, but there is maybe a longer term issue that's been present for a while, where we've been under resourced at the shelter, and staff has been it's a really tough, stressful industry to work in, and the staff that work there and volunteers and partners are simply amazing for what they do. And this budget proposal that we have in here will set us back on the right course to not only be able to hire positions, but also to provide us additional resources to start to meet the service delivery needs that we need to meet. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much for that, Matt. And I don't know what the criteria is to work at the shelter, but I think that this would also be such a fantastic opportunity for our young folks who are looking for part-time jobs during the summer, and our animal lovers who really love to take care of animals, and want to get into this field. What a great opportunity to get that experience. I'll move on, and if I could get that information directed to my staff, that would be great. I wanted to move on to the services that we're offering both our youth and our seniors at the community centers, and I look forward to seeing those centers fully staffed and programs fully running this summer. Of course, I represent some of the most challenged community centers in the city that have had, and I've spoken about this already, have not had a fully a full program over the last several months, even though some of the other community centers have enjoyed programs for their seniors and for youth. And so I want to just go on record to make sure that we see that happening at Mayfair, at what can be done at Alum Rock, but especially at Mayfair, because that's one of our hardest hit community centers. And I just hosted a Mother's Day luncheon yesterday where about 80 seniors were present, and some of them spoke directly to our own Maria de Leon and to me and to my staff about how desperately they want to get back into the center and have programs, and they want to dance. And in their own words, when you dance and when you're around music, you forget the pains and the ills and the sorrows of your life. And so we want to make sure that our seniors are coming out of isolation, especially after the pandemic. But regardless of the pandemic, we know that seniors are a very vulnerable community, and they suffer from isolation, in addition to all of the other issues that they're going through. And so I don't know if you want to address the senior program aside from just the senior nutrition program?
Thank you, Councilmember. John Cicerelli, Director of Parks, Recreation, Neighborhood Services. First off, we definitely agree with you. There needs to be more programming, not only at Mayfair, but really in all of our community centers. We have struggled for various reasons at different sites, seniors in particular, getting back to in-person. But we certainly want to see them dance again. We certainly want to see programs like Generation to Generation, the Gen to Gen programs we were doing before the pandemic, where we're having older adults around youth and seeing those generations intermingle a bit. I know there is a plan already in the works behind the scenes, and I know we've shared some of that with you, particularly about Mayfair, but across the system. I imagine some of the other council members might have some of the same concerns as you do. I will say some of that is a little bit limited by the staffing issues that we also experience in PRNS, just like other departments. We're not able to offer the full breadth in really any of our community centers of everything we were doing before the pandemic. But as we hire more staff, as we get more vendors online, we plan to continue to add those programs. So we're in complete alignment with improving that situation at Mayfair as well as other community centers.
I'm glad to hear that because I don't need to say this. You know, I'm going to be keeping my eye on Mayfair, but the kinds of activities that my staff and I have been providing for some of our seniors on the east side, we love it. We enjoy it. We love being out there. My staff really gets down and boogies with them, but that's not our job necessarily. You know, providing the Zumba classes and doing that kind of thing. I mean, it should be frosting on the cake. It shouldn't be the cake itself. And so we want to make sure that as we're looking at the programs, and I appreciate what you just said, that there should be programs throughout the entire city. I agree with you completely. But I've seen the schedules, I've seen the programs, and I've seen a very robust program and schedule in some of the other centers that were not at Mayfair. So let's not fool ourselves into thinking that everything else is the same as Mayfair. It is not. Mayfair was the most lacking in all of the community centers. And so I'll keep repeating myself until I see the same level of services and programs as I see in other community centers. And I want to make sure that our seniors on the east side of San Jose are treated with the same respect and dignity as every other senior in other parts of the city. So I want to make sure that we acknowledge that that community center was lacking. We have to acknowledge that in order to rectify it. So as we're looking at our budget, I want to make sure that we're budgeting what needs to be budgeted for Mayfair, and that we're making a concerted, intentional effort to make sure that we have a robust schedule at Mayfair Community Center. So I just want to have your commitment.
You have my commitment, and Deputy Director Maria De Leon is busily making cake so that all you have to worry about is icing.
Love the icing. And then I'm going to just echo the same sentiment when it comes to our youth programming. Because when I look at the youth programming at other community centers, they're very extensive. They're very, I love the descriptions of the youth programming in other centers. And when I look at the youth programming at Mayfair, you get a one-liner at best. It's very generic, and they don't tend to be the kind of extensive programming that you see in other community centers. So again, I've said this before. I gave my own presentation when this came up to council. You know, had it not been for a community center, I wouldn't have had the kind of enrichment activities that I had growing up. I didn't come from a family of wealth. My parents couldn't expose me. Even if they wanted to, they wouldn't have known where to send me. It was the community center at Gardner that really exposed me to many different activities and music and theater and all kinds of wonderful things that really opened my eyes. but if we're not giving our kiddos those opportunities, then we're really perpetuating injustices on the east side of San Jose. So I want that commitment for our youth on the east side of San Jose.
You have that commitment, council member, and I will go back to the American Rescue Plan funding that we put together around child and youth services. It does include boosting programming at a variety of community centers, including Mayfair and places like Seven Trees and Bascom and Roosevelt, where we know we have underserved populations. It also removes the barrier of cost as a consideration for those groups.
John, I'm going to stop you right there. You
Mhm.
can remove the barrier of cost, but if you don't have the activities and the programs and the schedules, then it doesn't make a difference. I'm not going to ship my kids all the way out to Bascom.
Right. These will be at Mayfair as well.
Okay. And so
yeah.
that's what I want. I want to be able to make sure that you don't just remove the cost, that you have the classes accessible and you have them in their neighborhood, that you can open up the doors and the kids can walk right into their own community center right across the street and be able to walk right into them. So you can go ahead and offer scholarships. You can remove all those barriers. But if the barrier is 12 miles away, they're not going to drive 12 miles away.
We absolutely recognize that.
Thank
and
you.
that is
That's
100%
it. That's it for me,
our goal.
Mayor. Thank you.
Mhm.
All right, Councilmember Arenas.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to, I know that I've asked this of other departments and I'm gonna ask the same question. I know there's a high number of vacancies and just some challenges to recruit and retain staff. And I know that you're working with HR to create new job classifications and just making other shifts, but I wanted to know from you, John, or whoever else can answer, to share with me how you'll be using the new resources for this work.
So thank you, Councilmember Arenas. So our new resources include an analyst, an extra analyst to pick up more recruitments. That's for the next fiscal year. However, in this fiscal year, we have been filling positions. We filled 133 so far this year. However, we have 152 vacancies in our benefited positions, so we still have a pretty high vacancy rate that does affect program delivery. We've done things like multiple postings. We've done things and will do things like reaching out both through your offices, but also through high schools where we get graduating seniors and things like that who may want jobs. We've been trying to be creative with different positions depending on what it is. For example, we recently hired a zoo manager, and she was a former employee who was working in San Francisco, wasn't really thinking necessarily about a job, and we just cold called her and said, hey, remember us? We'd love to have you for this job, and we managed to land her. So, there are various ways about which you go. For example, right now we're in the midst of hiring all our part-time work, and I know you're familiar with our seasonal work, council member, and right now we're looking at hiring something on the order of 425 part-time employees for our summer program. That sounds like a lot of people, and it is, but we're still going to be short. Even if all 425 accept, and we think most of them will, we're pretty far along in that process. But for example, family camp, not entirely sure that that's going to go the way we want it to go this summer. We're having a very hard time convincing people to go and spend that time up there in the wilderness at camp. We have much more success with people who want the part-time jobs here near where they live. Aquatics, struggling with that one again like we did last summer. But we're getting close. I don't think we're at a situation where we're not going to be able to open pools. So we have some strategies that we've been trying along the way and that we'll continue to try. We also, you probably heard along the way, I don't know yet, but there's, for analysts in general, we have so many vacancies across the city that there's just sort of one big recruitment that's going to go on, essentially creating a pool of qualified candidates. So that makes it a little easier on all the departments. So where we can participate in those cross-departmental or cross-city recruitments, we certainly will. So those are some of the types of things that we would be doing along the way to try to increase interest in jobs with the city.
That's great. I'm really glad to hear. Have we explored on hiring local folks out there? You know that I'm going to say an area that probably lacks jobs. Couldn't we recruit some folks from the Yosemite area to work for family camp versus transferring folks from here?
I'm not sure I understand the question. Could you restate it, Councilmember?
Sure. So you're trying to recruit folks for family camp, right?
Hmm.
This is near the
Oh,
Yosemite area. Now I get why there's some folks who wouldn't want to live up there for 2 months or so, and then have to come back down. But there's folks who are already living in that area. Have we thought about recruiting any of the locals?
yes, that's long been our strategy up there. And for whatever reason, it is not working in our favor. We've actually hired a few up there, I believe, already, but it's not nearly enough to really pull off a full summer of programming there.
Mm-hmm. That's a real shame. I know that this is something that our families look forward to in an affordable way, to go up to the Yosemite area. The other question that I had is about, and thank you for that answer, John. We know that, you're very, oh, let me ask you one last question about recruitment. How is the recruitment, or was it successful strategy to tap into some of the childcare providers that might have not been, that either closed their doors or might have not wanted to do childcare during the pandemic? Or did that render any success?
Yeah, it's a good question. I know that we went through that process and we were able to get through the County Office of Ed access to be able to send that recruitment out, but I have not done the follow-up work to know whether that netted folks or not. That would be
Yeah.
that group, by the way, of 425 I was talking about. So it's a big group of people, but I don't specifically know if that was successful or not. But we can find
Right.
out if that's of interest to you.
Well, only because I know that a lot of childcare providers have, well, just needed to close their doors, right? So there's folks there who have experience working with children and who may want to work a season with us or very limited hours. I just think they're an area, a group that we need to tap into that we haven't tapped into before. And I think beyond the County Office of Ed, I think, we have First Five, and we also have Go Kids and Choices for Children, who also provide who are players in the child care subsidy infrastructure for the county. I'm happy to connect you with any of those folks, just so that we can continue to get people who are familiar with children, who know how to deal with our kiddos, and who may be looking for a job themselves.
Certainly,
Okay.
and we agree. We agree with that strategy. We think it was a great one. I just don't know what the results were. So now you've made me curious
Yeah.
to go back and find out, actually.
Sure. Okay. Good. I'm glad. So I'm going to move on to the outcome number 2, which is vibrant cultural learning, recreation, and leisure opportunities. And this is basically, the second outcome that neighborhood services has. And while I agree with it, I think we also need to think about what kind of measure or what kind of strategy are we going to use during this post-pandemic period. We know that families, with children, every adult, including everybody here, has gone through this pandemic and has changed and has been impacted. And while we are adults and might be able to tap into our own social circles, children are slightly different and sometimes express their thoughts and frustrations through play. And we need to be able to support those children differently, as well as the parents. What strategies, if any, are we thinking about in terms of some of the classes that we're offering at community centers? Are we integrating any maybe parenting support, any healthy relationship workshops, any social emotional workshops that could enrich the lives of those families?
Thank you, Councilmember. You know, I don't know that we're doing the parental classes. I think the way we view most of our classes for youth are that they have social emotional aspects to pretty much every one of them. So for the youth directly, I would say yes in every case where we're offering those programs. But I don't believe, I'm going to ask Maria De Leon to step down here, Deputy Director of Recreation.
No, mic's still not on. Nope. Oh, it's on? Okay.
Good afternoon, Maria
Great.
De Leon, Deputy Director. With our community centers, we've worked with several nonprofit agencies who provide community services. They also include, they provide a variety of services, but some of them, they also include parenting classes, also opportunities or showing folks how to, or family members how to deal with mediation, problem solving, troubleshooting skills. And those are all also programs that we partner with Project Hope programs or efforts. And so we collaborate interdepartmentally with other divisions to ensure that the programs and services that community and parents need, that they're also offered out of our community centers wherever possible.
And if I can add real quickly to that, they're not based out of our community centers necessarily, at least not the ones we operate, but our best providers. That is a unit of service, both not only social emotional for the kids, but for parents and parent teaching and tutoring classes, right? So that's part of that aspect of work, but that's sort of more targeted work. It's not broadly the case across our community centers.
Yeah, and this is, I think, where our programs need to cross one another, as we have a location where families gather, which is our community centers, and hopefully, you know, that is a higher number.
Hey, Lily, how you doing?
Huh?
Ask everybody to mute their mic, please. Thanks.
Yeah, so like John said, it's mostly, it's sort of intentional at not all community centers, but at some of the centers where there's the most need.
Yeah, you know, one of the things that we have already approved in last year's budget was a mental health piece. I think that was a $500,000 allotment. I think this is an opportunity for us to figure out how to integrate some of the parenting workshops or some of those support services that we offer, maybe only a target audience, maybe our youth that is challenged or struggling, but that we, you know, take that concept and integrate it into our community centers, as we know that we are not in typical times. This is a post-pandemic, and while we have families within our grasp, that we connect them to some healthy relationship or parenting programs that in the end will provide us with some prevention, with that I think is worth the investment. So I'd like to see how that gets integrated, that mental health piece, those mental health dollars, and 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 to see some of the classes. I think all of those enrichment classes, as John already stated, do serve a purpose to support social emotional learning. Play is definitely a technique for children to work out some frustration, but parents, we don't normally do that anymore. Wouldn't it be great just to play an aggressive game of handball to work things out? But that's not normally what we think about. We would, we tend to want to talk to one another. And so I would encourage us to have the kinds of programming that our community is in the need of right now. Simply because we are that hub, we are that community center hub, and it's just a matter of bringing on folks. We don't have to do it ourselves. We just provide the facility and the location, just like we would any other class. So I think
Council member, if
who's that?
this is Angel Rios, Deputy City Manager.
Oh,
if I could
Angel.
add to what John and Maria mentioned,
Sure.
I think the other thing we want to highlight is the things that we've been learning as we've been launching the Children and Youth Master Plan work. The one thing that we're hearing from educators, from parents, from youth themselves is really the need to, is really helping, the feedback that we're getting from them all is helping to shape a different recreation model as we go forward. And one of the things that I want to call out specifically is an investment that we're going to be making in what we call the CAS, the Cross Agency Service Team. And this pulls together the county, the city, County Office of Education, nonprofits, all centered
Right.
around really responding to the needs of youth as they exist today as a result of the pandemic primarily, but also, to address these changing needs. And so I think what you're going to see is that work will inform the new recreational model that we'll have going forward. And it's going to be much more cross-agency oriented. We're really excited about the momentum. We got tremendous buy-in from all those stakeholders already. A lot of this is playing out, as you know, under your leadership through NSC. So I think that's what I think the future looks promising. We do have to address these, immediate issues of staffing and vacancy rates and all that, but we're also leaning forward in that area and being very creative about how to do that. So I just wanted to highlight that as well.
Right. Well, thank you, and I appreciate that. I know that you've been working really hard through NSC to make sure that we get this right for our youth, and that it's a system pivot, that it's not just one program, one service, but that all of our systems are aligned in a way that is supportive, that scaffolds learning. And now we as a system also need to do the same with our outcomes and the way that we measure our outcomes and the goals that we have underneath those. And so I think it's time for us to do the same, to reflect what we are actually doing and the impact that we're having. I think at this point, we've got some work to do. All right, those are my questions. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to go here to the council in person. Councilmember Cohen.
Yeah, thank you. I want to change the subject to my favorite subject, which is libraries. I saw the MBA that was out today about expanding or restoring and expanding hours at the library, and wanted to just ask a few questions. I think the plan, according to that, is stick with the hours that we had last year and then try for next year. I want to sort of push a little bit on what is possible, now. And I was going to ask Jim a question as part of this, but start with you, Jill. So I had talked before about the importance of restoring some hours on Sundays, as they had been open for some years, although I didn't realize it had been so long since they had been open on Sundays. I remember the popularity of Sundays. When I was on the Library Commission, I remember hearing that Sunday was the most popular day at the time, but you give some feedback again. You talk to us a little bit about your experience through the conversations with other library systems or even data that we have about how Sundays compare to other days of the week.
Yes, Jill Bourne, City Librarian. Thank you for the question. Sunday hours are always quite popular. As you know, I've worked in 3 large urban systems, and they were always the most popular day. Um, they typically bring in a clientele that is different than the rest of the week. I always used to say that you see multi-generational families, you'd see folks who couldn't come to the library on other days of the week, and so they're very busy hour for hour. Typically, it's a shorter day, just because Sundays are typically a family day in the morning, and then you'd have your outing in the afternoon. So typically very popular, and would be great to be able to expand to Sundays for the community.
Yeah, and I don't really want to necessarily try to weigh the importance of Sundays versus other days, because I know the people you serve on weekday would be mornings with kids doing story time and other kinds of childcare activities, and then obviously after school, kids going after school, and I don't know the data for all those different times of day and what your usage rate is, but I'm just curious, given that there's at this point a feeling that we're reaching our budget max on hours, has there been a study about an analysis of whether there's a time during the week where it would be worth switching it to a time when it's as busy as Sundays?
You're like breaking my heart when you ask me that question.
Yeah.
It's like pick your favorite child. No, I I do think that Sundays are very valuable. I think it would be a different conversation if we were open more hours. I think the challenge is that we're not open a huge number of hours compared to other libraries, and I will support opening on Sunday regardless of the decision of how it happens. But I do think it should be known too, and you see that in the estimates that the issue of opening a 7-day operation does cause some additional costs, because you actually need more individuals to be able to staff across 7 days, given that our full-time staff can only work 5 days in a row, and all those requirements of staffing. So there's just a logistical reality that having a 7-day operation is a little bit more costly. And we really don't want to give up any days after school because of the consistency that it requires, or that it allows for families and for our students. And as you said, you definitely want to have at least a couple mornings for story times and those kinds of visits. So I think that there's definitely some flexibility, if that's the council's direction, but just keeping in mind that not every hour is equal, essentially.
Right. And I do remember a lot of detailed analysis about how to go to 7 days and how to staff because of the 5 days on, 2 days off schedule. I mean, I understand that that's somewhat complex. My next question is, if we were to go to that kind of, and you'd have to staff up for it, do you think that, I mean, I know that other departments are having trouble with staffing at this point, obviously. Are you seeing the same kind of problem with staffing at the libraries, and do you think there would be a lag time to be able to get staff on board to do that?
I do know that the staff came up with a plan. I guess it depends on how many positions. Are we talking about a couple of locations or more? At the library, though, however, our staffing vacancy rate is somewhat lower. It's about 8%, I believe. And because we prioritize hiring, I know other departments do too, but we just really know that we wouldn't be able to provide our services without the staff that we have budgeted. So I think that's the reason. We've had successful recruitments. I wouldn't see any reason why we couldn't have a reasonable implementation timeline.
Okay, thank you. My next question is for Jim, actually, on the budget, or maybe somebody else on your team. We obviously have a large number of vacancies in the city, and I know we budget at the beginning of the year for all those vacancies, all those positions to be filled, but obviously they don't all get filled, and it'll take time to fill them. How do we account for the ability to use some of that funding for other things because of the savings that result from vacancies?
Thank you, Councilman, for the question. It's a good one. So there's a couple parts to that. So one of the parts is when we put together our 5-year forecast for in any given year's base budget,
we actually assume a certain level of vacancy savings as part of that baseline cost. And so generally for a lot of departments, it's about a 2% vacancy rate. I don't remember what it is for, and that's what it is for the library department. And so what it does is that reduces everybody's cost essentially by that 2%. So your health cost, your insurance cost, your salary cost. So we sort of take some of that right off the top there. We don't want to go too far because we don't want to limit department's capacity to do work, but that's part of it. The other part, I talked in the beginning of the opening ceremony session there about our what we assume is in terms of our ongoing fund balance in the general fund. So we assume $25 million of ongoing fund balance. Some of that is extra revenue that we might get that we don't know about, but also some of that is savings that we are going to get across departments, and a lot of that is vacancy savings. So we are assuming sort of citywide additional revenues and additional savings, primarily in vacancy savings, as part is sort of built into our forecast. So that's sort of the online or the ongoing component of it. And then there are some times when we get to year end and we need to solve some problems. And so sometimes we use vacancy savings to solve an overage somewhere else, so we can offset with vacancy savings from a different location. So it's a pretty active management of that all throughout the year as part of our bi-monthly financial reports, mid-year report, and then the year-end stuff that's going to come to you in about a month.
Okay, thank you. So I'm just going to express my feeling that we should ought to try to expedite increasing the hours as much as possible. And maybe it means phasing in over time. Maybe I kind of liked what I saw, which was the idea of 2 branches to start, and then maybe seeing how that goes in terms of our traffic on Sundays. That was with like only a 340, I know these numbers are, we might consider them small in the scheme of our overall budget, $340,000 to do 2 branch Sunday hours, and maybe pick, areas of, either of need or high traffic or however we think is the right approach to do that. And see, and then be able to measure, the popularity of Sunday hours and potentially think about mid-year phasing in some other branches or next year going further on that. So I'd like us to consider that as a council, and whether that means also trying to fill out. Well, we already are talking about those 13 branches that were keeping them, moving them into the ongoing budget, but those other 10 branches restoring the other 4 hours, I think it was, or is it 4 hours per week? That to me is a separate question, and maybe it should be phased in some way too, or maybe we can figure out how to get that as step 2. But I do think that trying a couple Sunday hours and seeing how it goes in our city right now, given the new behavior patterns of people after the pandemic and things reopening, might be a good approach. And the 340,000, I think we can find in our budget to do that. And I was just kind of broaching the savings thing because of, we're going to try to fill all these vacancies, but we're not going to fill them all right away. And so we're going to, presumably $340,000 will be saved in a few months of our budget in that for those items. But anyway, I just wanted to raise that as something that I'd like to consider as we move the budget next month. Being creative on how we might phase this in, but not assuming that we has to wait a year to do it all. Thanks.
I just asked a question for clarification. Does $340,000 buy us 57 hours with some Sundays? Help me just understand what we
It's a
get.
pair of Sundays.
I'm sorry?
It's 2 branches on Sunday.
2 branches out of the 24. Well, MLK is already on Sundays, right? So
MLK is on Sundays, yeah.
okay.
2 local branches in addition to MLK being open on Sundays.
340.
340.
And so is that through the addition of hours to those 2 branches, or is that simply the shifting of hours?
That is a good question. It originally, it assumes that the hours have been restored, as they have or they will have been permanently in 13 branches if this budget is adopted, the proposed budget.
Okay, so it's 57 hours then.
Correct.
Okay.
Wait, it's 51 hours.
51.
It would be, because they're 47 now.
Oh, forgive me.
And 43.
I'm sorry, I
So
had
it would be
57 in my head.
51.
So it's 47 and 43. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. So that it is adding hours to the 47. Okay,
Correct.
great. Okay. It's
It
helpful.
could technically, per the council members' questions, it could technically be done at branches that are at the 43-hour mark. And we did do an estimate that showed the cost of adding Sundays to both the types of branches. the
Okay.
43 and the 47.
That's in the MBA?
Yeah.
Forgive me, I've only gotten through a couple pages of it.
And
Thank you.
the challenge of it is that there's obviously so many different ways you could splice an hour scenario, and
Yeah.
we've provided a few to give a sense of the general cost and complexity. Certainly other scenarios could be provided.
Okay, well, thank you for the extensive analysis. I will get
Yeah,
through that.
just to follow up on that, I think actually it was 330,000 for 2 branches, but I think those were specifically branches that had to already be at the 47, right? And there was a little bit more, but I don't think I don't think it was included in the MBA, the option to increase the 4 at 2 other branches. So we could look into that.
Right, not in
as
a pair, but as a larger package.
Okay,
I
I
think
see.
scenario.
Oh, so I see. Yeah, that's true. So we
I
can
think
figure
it's
out per branch what it
scenario-
would cost, right?
Scenario 3 included a system-wide look at just increasing Sundays and not restoring the other 10 branch hours.
Okay,
But like I said, we could, yeah, so there would be some incremental difference potentially if you were adding Sundays to a branch that hadn't been restored, but we could definitely provide that.
and, okay, well, I'll make sure I read the memo before I ask any more questions, because I know there's a lot more there. Councilmember Foley?
Thank you. I'm actually going to piggyback on the library questions first before I get into anything else. Jill, thank you for the MBA and giving us analysis of fully funding or fully restoring hours. But I haven't analyzed these numbers that closely either, but in looking at it, it doesn't give me a number that just says if we restore the hours that have been at the branches that are not fully operational now, not counting the Sunday hours. All of the analysis I'm looking at says if we add Sunday hours here, here, and here, but what if we just add the 4 hours back to is it 13 libraries that have not in the what we're calling the higher resourced areas?
Yes,
So you
Councilmember, it's 10 branches. It's actually in table 1. And the only addition to that is, so it's on page 3 on table 1.
Okay, I see it.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you.
then just to note though that this amount is different than what we had talked about previously because of the security assessment that the library has completed. And there have been recommendations around the addition of security officers for branch libraries. So that's the only change from the earlier model.
Okay, so the just under $1 million then under table 1 to restore the 10 branches and the King Library. What's the budget impact of the security officers, and is that a proposal for all of the libraries?
Yes, Councilmember. So there is a proposal currently in our in the base budget or the proposed budget that would add 2 security officers. This proposes as we are open more hours, the libraries, the security assessment suggested the level of security staff that we should have for all of our 24 branch locations. And so these officers would actually serve all the libraries. And the dollar value is there. It's a 2 FTE, so 2 full-time positions, and but obviously they're not staffing the branches; they're supporting all the branches.
Got it. Understood. Okay. So with regards to the libraries, I would really encourage us to figure out a way that we can restore funding for all of the libraries, adding back the 4 hours that the 10 libraries do not benefit from. And additionally, looking at Sunday time at the libraries, we've heard from a lot of our residents how important Sundays is. And Jill, you just said how important it is and how well attended it is. So anything we can do to increase accessibility for our residents on Sundays would be really important. That's when families are there. That's when working people who are there who may not be able to get there during the day, and students, it might be a better time for them to be there as well. So I just remember my experience as a kid growing up, how important going to library was particularly on Sundays, and it was always a family outing. So I don't want to spend a lot of time on the libraries than encourage the budget office to come back with a way that we can fully fund all of our libraries, at least to the minimum level, and look at maybe a rotating schedule for Sundays. Sunday in this area, Sunday in that area. I don't know. That may complicate it a little bit, but I think it allows access to the libraries, which is really, really critical. Shifting gears a little bit, but also in the libraries and in my role as the council liaison to the Senior Commission, the Senior Commission has made a few recommendations that I would like you to consider as well with regards to the libraries. Currently, we still implement forgiveness of student fines. Is that correct, Jill?
Yes, we have, thanks to council's decision last year, we have youth fines free.
Fines free for students or fine free for all?
For youth.
Okay.
So for children and teens.
Is there a reason that we have not included our senior citizens in the fines? I've heard a lot at the commission that during the pandemic in particular, but now as well, it's very difficult for seniors to get to the libraries and those with disabilities to get to our libraries and avoid the fines, or to even go online and renew their books through or their materials online. We know that our seniors do not, I'm not generalizing, but some of them have access difficulties as they have difficulty navigating the internet. And so have we ever considered waiving fines for seniors and what that cost might be?
Yes, Councilmember, thank you for the question. So the library has just considered waiving all kinds of fines. I think as you know and council knows, over time, this fund that's recouped from fines and fees, offsets some costs for the city. And so it's been a discussion over several years of which fines should be waived or eliminated. And so we're doing the analysis on the potential cost to waiving senior fines. I will say that during the emergency pandemic, all fines were waived for a period of time, so we don't have good data from that time, but we do have data from the 2 years prior. And so we can provide information about what the ongoing cost of waiving fines for seniors would be.
And Councilmember, this is Jim Shannon. I know we also have an MBA that will be coming out from a past referral to look at sort of even a broader look at fines that were incurred during the pandemic for our most disproportionately impacted communities. So that'll be coming out. So we would want to incorporate the library component as part of that.
Okay, great. Thank you. Jim, you were going to be the next person I asked about that. So that's great. I'm happy to hear that. And when you're analyzing that, I want to throw something else into the mix of looking at waiving, and that is any member, and I know Councilmember Arenas mentioned this as related to children and access to children's programs and other programs, but I'd like to extend waiving or suspending membership fees and activities fees for seniors and individuals with disabilities as well, to encourage their use of our senior centers and their access and ability to use our our community centers. The next thing I'd like to raise is regarding Project Hope. Project Hope is, I don't have a Project Hope in my area, but I know it's a very successful program around the city, and there's ongoing budget item of $530,000. Does this allow for any expansion of the Project Hope areas? And if it does, how does an area get designated as a Project Hope area?
Thank you, Councilmember. No, the budget item you see does not add any new Project Hope sites. The action there is taking the remaining portions of that program that were one time. This was sort of a hybrid program. Some of it was ongoing, but some of it was still one time. So that's just that last piece, making it ongoing. Typically, the way we have in the past looked at adding sites is through an evaluation, which starts first with our 18 gang hotspots. And then we go through a process, which we did about 2 or 3 years at least, I would say, when we last added the most recent sites. We went through an evaluation process of those 18 hotspots and ranked them so that we sort of knew what were the ones that were in most urgent need, and those are the ones that we started with. So there is an effort going on now, again, to sort of relook at where hotspots are or where there might be emerging hotspots. And I'm aware that you have some concerns about a particular neighborhood in your district. So we will be looking at that as well as part of your, you made a cost estimate request, I believe, to take a look at a particular neighborhood. So we'll be able to provide a bit more information about that. But
Great.
to sum it up, no new ones with this budget action.
Okay, great. Thank you for the clarification, and I know we'll get a cost estimate on the one that we're talking about too. So I appreciate that. I was at the mayor's budget meeting, town hall meeting last night, and finally shifting gears to the animal control, animal care. Loud and clear, there were a lot of people there present who were concerned about animal care. So I was really happy to see the MBA come through last night. But I do have a question for actually, Matt. I don't know if it's you or who it is, but the question came up about volunteers, that there are a lot of people who have indicated their willingness and interest in volunteering, and Councilmember Carrasco raised that issue as well. But when you go on the site, it says that you cannot apply to be a volunteer. Yet when you talk to volunteers, they say there's plenty of time that they need volunteers, but it's a difficult process and they have to talk to one particular staff person. Can you tell me what the issue is there and how we might be able to solve it so that if we have willing people, which it sounds like we do, we can get them over to help volunteer in an area where we desperately need volunteer people?
Thank you for the question, Councilmember Jay Trotter, Deputy Director over
Jay,
at Animal
thank
Care
you.
Services. So we did recently hire a volunteer coordinator that coordinates and takes charge of recruiting volunteers. There was I don't recall when we made a post on Facebook asking for volunteers to help us set our shelter. So I'm gonna have to take a look at our website to see what the challenges are in trying to apply for as a volunteer. But we definitely are looking for volunteers, and we definitely welcome the help, and we'll appreciate any help the community can help us with.
Well, Jay, go take a look at your website, because last night one of my staff members pulled it up and there it was in red letters. You cannot apply for a volunteer at this time.
Okay,
So
we will definitely address that.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Jay, and thanks for the MBA that came through on the animal care. I think that's really helpful and really timely. Okay, and I know I'm jumping all over the place because that's just how my notes to myself were, jumping all over the place. Two more questions for you, John. One is, you mentioned the aquatics program. Are we going to be able to open all of our pools this year? And what's the status of hiring lifeguards at this point?
So yes, we'll be able to open all the pools. Our status on hiring lifeguards right now, I have a number here. Of the 40 positions we need, we believe we have about 24 so far. That is enough to get open. So the real trick is, we did put aside some extra money, if you'll recall, a few weeks ago when we talked about youth services and ARP funding. Some of the money in there is to support the aquatics program, including free swim and things like that, and lessons. So the only question mark, I think, for this summer will generally be, can we do all of the programming we want to do? So we were continuing to try to hire lifeguards. In that particular instance, obviously, we compete with places like Raging Waters and Great America and all the private cabanas and pools across the city. So it's a tough market for us, but we're more than 50% there already on the hiring. So for sure they'll be open.
So doesn't give me tremendous confidence. I'd love to hear you say, we're going to be open at all of our pools for the maximum amount of hours because we're going to need some cooling off where people don't want to depend on their air conditionings and they want to be able to use our pools. But then we also have lap swimmers and swimming lessons. So I know you're doing what you can. I just want to put an emphasis on how much our pools are utilized and how important they are all over our city. So, and I understand it's a staffing issue, and I understand how difficult that is right now. Moving on to staffing issues, you did answer some questions that Councilmember Arenas had, but I'm wondering, we hear often about PRNS. Well, we hear every department is understaffed, but in particular PRNS, and some of the concerns we hear are about the need to reclassify job positions, and which allows for promotions and growth potential for staff members within PRNS. Is that moving forward? How is our reclassification standing in our way from retaining good people and or promoting them? And how do we make sure that that's a priority? Are we studying this? What are we doing to make sure that we can retain the current staff we have, that we can offer them the growth projection in their work with the city so that they can move up and get promoted throughout PRNS without moving into other departments?
Well, yes. So thank you for the question. Good news is, of those positions, 133 positions that we filled so far this year, 105 of those were promotions within our department. The bad news is that's just 105 more vacancies that we now have to deal with, right? So it's a bit of a zero-sum game when it comes to vacancy rates. We are very committed to looking at classifications. We have already changed some in this fiscal year, including, a primary thing that we're looking at is where we have higher education requirements, ensuring that we add in the ability to substitute experience for those years of education, generally speaking in a 1-to-1 ratio. So we've been working with the HR department. We've had a few different classifications we've already changed. One that comes to mind is within the our events coordination. Another one that comes to mind are within our parks maintenance group, our facility supervisors. That one in particular was a big win for us. You'll see on Tuesday some work that HR has been doing, well, actually OER has been doing on wages for maintenance workers, and we employ quite a few maintenance workers, primarily in our community services, but also in our parks division. So those are good wage increases for them. So broadly, to answer your question, yes, we are continuing to pursue it on multiple fronts. This has also come up, by the way, in our equity work. And we are one of the departments that have a proposed equity officer going forward in the next year. So this is more of that work we would want to advance. We heard that pretty loud and clear as we went around. We've done the official GARE surveying, and we had multiple meetings with our staff to talk about various issues of equity. And this was one that always came up. Can we remove some of these barriers so that people can continue to advance? So it's a priority to our staff, and it's a priority to us as management.
I think that's really important. I will hire someone with experience over someone with a degree with no experience any given day. They've been on the job for a couple, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. They know the job. Someone with a degree, while that's important, they don't have any experience. I have to train them a lot more and get them up to speed. So I'm really happy to hear that we are offering a trade-off for experience versus a degree. That's really, really important. A degree is important. I'm not saying it's not vital, and students should try to get their degree if they can, but it is an impediment for a lot of people financially and the time it takes. But having that experience is so much more important, or can be so much more important and impactful. So I'm really glad to hear that you're focusing on that and actually making some changes in the areas that the job classifications that we've heard in particular about. So thank you for that. With that, that really concludes my questioning, and thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, returning, Councilmember Esparza.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll be quick because everybody asked a lot of really good questions already, and some of them the same. I had the same. And so I wanted to revisit Councilmember Carrasco's questions about the feral cat program. I do know how, I am very well aware what a tough spot animal care has been in terms of staffing. But did I hear correctly? Were you saying that yes, that program is in place? It was my understanding it wasn't.
Thank you for the question, Councilmember. When our staffing levels return, that is a program that we are intending to return immediately. We know the importance of the TNR program to our community and our staff because it also decreases the number of animals that are coming into our shelter. We do have a lot of hardworking staff at the shelter right now, and we definitely want to limit the number of especially cats and kittens that are coming into our shelter. And so it is a program that we definitely want to re-implement as soon as we can.
Thank you. Yeah, and to Councilmember Foley's remarks, the volunteer page it looks fine on the home page, but if you click on the volunteer page, you get it opens up that page, and that's where the "we're not taking volunteers because of COVID-19" comes up. So I wanted to also bring up the library hours. I'm going to jump around as well. And I wanted to bring up the library hours. You'll see, but it's not even opinion. It is fact that the parks are the backyards and the libraries are the living rooms that so many families in our city don't have, and they rely on those public amenities. I would really like to see us take an equity lens to looking at Sunday hours. There are so many kids throughout our city that are already dealing with challenges in school from the last 2 years, on top of other challenges about what their families have been facing. And we also know as well from our partners that serve those children that mental health has emerged as a huge need. But providing that space for our kids to go, for them to get ready for the school week is really invaluable. I would love to figure out a way to do that, even if it's just a few branches, that we do take that equity lens to do that. And then I'm going to jump to John. Councilmember Foley brought up aquatics. Last year, we offered free aquatics for 4 swim centers in the city. And you mentioned that we are desperately hiring for that. I know that we really kicked in an extra effort last year. Fair Swim Center in District 7 was the most used aquatics swim center in the city. People used it. If you open it, people really do go, especially when, again, they live in overcrowded situations. They don't have anywhere else to go. How can we help? How can we help get that hiring, particularly if, how can we help with that? And 2, how are we applying that equity lens to ensure that there's programming where kids need it most?
Well, I'll take the last part first and ask Deputy De Leon to speak to the rest. But with respect to equity, the targeted money that we have in the ARP is specifically directed at those pools in those underserved areas. So that's where the extra funding is already going to go. I do know one of the ways in which we could get help from the council is to the degree that you have great outreach within your own communities to parents of teenagers who are eligible to work and want to work as a lifeguard or work in our community centers, you know, especially some of these kids that are going to be graduating from high school and probably looking for summer jobs. That would definitely help. But I know we do some outreach along those ways. So I'm going to ask Maria to talk about some of that.
Can we actually, going back to that, can we, I don't know if Carolina is around, but is this something that also the citywide comms can help with? I'm happy to do whatever I can as well, and I'm sure my colleagues are, but how can we amplify that through citywide comms?
Yeah, I'd have to speak with our communications team. Obviously, Carolina knows us very, very well. She was stolen from us by the city manager
Yes,
a
she
little while
does.
ago. But we have a great person in her place now who works very closely with her. So we can certainly explore that, how we do that sort of at a broader citywide level. But Maria, I don't know if you want to comment on that.
Yes, so in terms of recruitment, we did some special intentional recruitment efforts this summer. We actually went out to Project Hope sites at their community events where we know we have youth in high needs areas that may be looking for employment, and we actually enrolled or helped these youth fill out their applications on the spot, made sure that helped them with their application submittal online. And we also went to Viva Calle events and encouraged youth to apply. We also went to cleanup events, and we went to schools, and we met with the activity directors and went to the swim teams and polo teams and encouraged people to apply. Additionally, we had a clinic at Mayfair Center where we, for folks who needed help with IT assistance and guidance and support in submitting their applications. So the goal really is to not only get a lot of applications to apply for lifeguards and swim instructors, but our goal as well is to get folks, a diverse workforce. And that means we need to go out to the neighborhoods, which is what we did. We intend to continue doing that until our lifeguards and swim instructors and our aquatics program actually matches the communities that we serve in terms of providing a diverse workforce.
Okay, thank you. And John, can you address, you mentioned the 400 and some positions that we're hiring. When will we have a better sense of what we will have to staff programs with?
You mean it of that number, like for sure who will?
Yes.
Yeah. So these are ones that are pretty far along, generally speaking. There's a fair number that are students who are graduating high school in the final piece of their processes to produce the proof that they graduated, because it is a requirement. So they will get what we call conditional offers, and then once that thing is there, then boom, they're hired. I can't say for sure. I mean, we'll probably know within a month or so. Once all these kids are done graduating, by then we should know, at least from these last couple rounds of hirings that we did, how many of that 425 will stick. We're hoping that still goes up a little bit. Like I said, you know, particularly with family camp, we're worried and hoping that we can find more people to assist us there. I think in all other situations, as I mentioned about aquatics, you know, our summer camp programs and things things of that nature will generally go off fine. So in some rare cases, there may be a little less enrollment simply because we don't have the staff, but right now we're not counting on that. Right now we're still in the mix of getting these 425 or so people through the system.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Esparza. Right, other questions from my colleagues? I had a few. I was hoping I could start with code enforcement. I know there've been a lot of challenges with the key pain point around the vacancy rate. It's really reduced capacity. And I'm wondering to what extent we can actually deputize community members. Now that we've got a 311 app and we've really expanded the uses, if there were, say, a half dozen common code violations that would be readily apparent to the naked eye, to the untrained person, for example, somebody putting the car on their front yard. I live east of San Jose, so we see, these kinds of things. I wonder to what extent does that help or hurt the challenges you face in terms of being able to encourage folks to come into compliance and enforce code?
So that's a very good question, an interesting question. Rachel Roberts, Deputy Director of Code Enforcement. I mean, what comes to mind with that question is as you know, the Blight Buster programs we've had in the past.
Yeah.
To actually do enforcement, we have to be deputized by the city manager, and then there's a considerable amount of training involved. And then when you get into the stage of enforcement where you're actually having to, issue a citation or some sort of order, there's a chain of evidence that's required. Those people have to be able to testify to the validity of their assessments and so forth. So I think the most appropriate role for a constituent would be in more of that Blight Buster capacity, where we are able to train volunteers and coordinate with them on some of the steps in our process that could be done. But at some point, an inspector would have to take that information and move it forward.
Rachel, could I just suggest, what if there was a lighter touch model? And by that, I mean, and I know this isn't all code violations, but the vehicle's parked on the front yard. And obviously, it's been there for months and it's not operable. So someone takes a photograph, just as they would a 311 app, they send it in. You've got folks at HQ who can look at the photo, say, yep, that seems legit. The citation comes from the city, or the notice comes from the city, not from anybody else. And basically, your team is there just to verify what's coming in. That okay, that looks like a code violation. Does that enable you to? I know the bottom line is we all want to fill these positions, but we're having lots of challenges there, and I'm just trying to see if there are other approaches as well.
In some ways, we're already doing that for the majority of our blight complaints. When they come in, we can send a letter just on the allegation of the violation, saying that it's been reported that this is the case. If this is in fact true, please correct it, prior to any inspector having to spend any time going out to that property. And we do see a fairly good percentage of compliance through that model. But again, even if and our city attorney might want to speak to this too, but even if we do get some compelling evidence through a photograph or something like that, we don't have the ability to ascertain, when it was taken, how it was taken, if it's in fact the true and correct photo. So we can't go as far as a citation just based on someone submitting a photo. They'd have to actually be willing to testify to that effect or sign a declaration or something like that. So it would be something we'd have to explore.
You could include a field that would enable somebody to identify themselves, right?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
You could include a field in the app that would just enable somebody to identify themselves. If they just
it does remind me of like our fireworks enforcement we're doing right now. It's the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
They still would need to. We still ask though that they consent to testifying should it move to the point of a citation.
Right. Okay. I guess, and I know this is probably a longer conversation offline with legal experts, but It seems to me that if the whole point of all this is trying to get folks to comply, not necessarily trying to get to a fine. If we've got probable cause, we look at a photograph, okay, there's a violation. Why not send them a citation and say, look, if you think it's wrong, then tell us why. But it looks like it's a violation to us. So why don't you fix it, and then you can make all this go away. I guess I'm trying, that's kind of where I'm going. Do we need this many steps? Does it need to be this difficult?
Yes, I see what you're saying, and as I mentioned, we are kind of already doing that. We're trying to move as much as possible to, letters and not having to put somebody out into the field if it's not absolutely necessary.
Right.
We're reserving those positions for the more life safety, health and safety type of things.
Yeah.
But I do think there's a need and an opportunity for building a stronger neighborhood network with the constituents, and turning it on its head, and instead of focusing on the problems in the neighborhood, how do we support one another to help them empower one another to resolve those things as a community before it even lands in our lap. And we have also talked about creating satellite, not necessarily offices, but having like satellite office hours out in the community centers or libraries or things like that, where we're going out into the community instead of them having to come to us, just to sort of and then increase our efforts in terms of communication as far as educating the residents around what are violations, how can they be more informed, and help prevent those from even happening. So I think there's a lot of opportunity there for sure.
I'm sure you're right, Rachel, but that all seems really labor intensive, right? There's a lot of hours that needs to be spent with the community to bring them, to engage them in that way. And so I'm just concerned that we don't have those resources now, and we're not going to tomorrow. And so we might need to think of other ways in which, and I'm not looking to have neighbors ratting on each other. It doesn't have to be a punitive thing. There's even just a letter that from the city that just says, look, it's obvious we know from your neighborhood, here's a photo. You got something to fix, please fix it.
Yeah, Mayor, if I could also add to that, we actually have a meeting set up with a few neighborhood groups to really do a deeper dive on exactly that issue, because there is another consequence that results out of this, right? On the one hand, say, for example, in the instance of multiple cars parked on a property, right? You also have the issue of just the cost of housing kind of almost by default requires multiple people living in a home, right?
Right.
And so there's a double-edged sword here, right, in terms of like what we prioritize. And so what we're trying to do in this conversation and this outreach with the community is, can we find a middle ground and maybe put some parameters on what type of ordinance violations exist, kind of course, with their buy-in and all, but also recognizing that on the one hand, this will have an impact on those families that are just trying to make ends meet, right? And at the same time, we want to also encourage compliance with the policy, right? So it's a tough challenge, but we're hoping that in this meeting that we have, we'll get some new ideas as well.
I appreciate that point, Angel, and I'm not pushing to put community members in the middle of those tough calls, where we're trying to balance the fact that families are just trying to survive. I think there's some sort of obvious items where it's not an issue of someone's inability to pay. It's much more just they took an additional step of effort. There would be a safer, cleaner condition in their community. And we know this is often landlords. It's not even the tenants, right? It's often the property owners who live somewhere else. And so that's kind of where I'm going with all this, is to say, is there a faster way for us to get to resolution, rather than the traditional model of having a city employee out there spending a lot of time that we just don't have.
Yeah, I'm definitely on the same page with you, and have been and will continue to explore that. We do the largest percentage of our cases are closed voluntarily, which means we don't move to a point of enforcement. But I do think there is opportunity there, and we can definitely continue to explore that. We have been continuing to rebudget our Blight Buster funding, and we are building. We can look and see how we can expand and build on that as well.
Thank you. On the question of library hours, I did make it through the memo, so thank you for that, Jill. It's very extensive. I'll ask the one question I know you don't want me to ask, but I'll ask it anyway. We just took those library branch hours, those library branches where we've got 47 hours. And we said, okay, well, maybe Thursday and Friday mornings are less busy, so we're going to lop the hours off there and staple them onto the Sunday. So we can be open for 5 or 6 hours on a Sunday. Do you have any sense about whether that cost, first of all, is that implementable? Can that be done? Or is there a significant barrier or two that you have to overcome to get there?
So I think per the earlier conversation, part of the challenge is that we've already cut, and arranged our hours in the most cost efficient way. So currently we're only open 3 weekdays mornings a week and Saturday mornings. And less than that in terms of morning hours would really impact the early education community, right? The children,
Right.
If you've ever been around a toddler, there's that window when you can take them to a program and it's in the morning. So
Yeah.
and I think, not wanting to impact after school times, we've also shortened our days to 6 or 7 p.m. And so, we frequently get requests to have at least one evening a week. So you could, we could do that analysis if needed to cut further and then add Sundays with that. I think, as we discussed before, it isn't a 1-for-1, because when you go to a 7-day operation, it definitely increases the need for more people. You can't have the same person working the same hour in multiple buildings, I would say.
Right.
So, so there could be some analysis of that. Honestly, I wouldn't recommend doing it any further than we already have.
Yeah, I understand. I won't ask you to do that analysis. I think I get it. So thank you. There's a shift of the literacy program specialist from the library partial tax to the ARP. Is that just because our partial tax revenues are dropping? Trying to understand why we're.
Sorry, I'm just going to find that.
Is that the one in the associated with San Jose Aspires?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think it was just to make the available funds go further.
Okay.
And I think that was also, if I'm recalling, I think we had funded that at San Jose Aspires program is sort of on a one-time funded basis. So I think we had an existing employee shifted over to do that work.
Yeah.
And so I think library parcel tax is, not in a long term, it's fine for the next couple of years, but over a longer term basis, we have some work to do there. But I think that particular instance was really just to fund that particular position for that particular San Jose Aspires program.
Okay.
And
Thanks.
partially, Mayor, just so you're aware, as you know, there are a number of program specialists who oversee programs across the educational spectrum. And so when the city experienced a budget deficit a couple of years ago, some of those positions were actually funded by our library foundation because of funding that we've been able to accumulate for those programs. So we're evaluating all of those programs with the goal of getting the ones that we want to continue back onto our budget and ensuring that the positions are funded long term.
Okay, great. Thank you. John, I was hoping to talk about a couple parks issues. One, the Tamian Park, I know you're aware, there was some interest potentially in a philanthropic investment there. And it's at what, $148,000 for turf replacement. And have we engaged with the community at all to find out if they prefer artificial turf there? And maybe that would be a worthwhile thing to engage philanthropy on?
Thanks, Mary. We did briefly, actually. It just so happened that after we'd sort of met with that potential philanthropist, we had a community meeting that was already scheduled because we were having issues with the field anyways. And so we did ask them what their interest level might be. The people who were in attendance were interested. We didn't feel that the number of people in attendance was representative of the entire neighborhood, so we will go back out to them. The current process right now that we're in is working up the estimate of what it would cost to do this. In the meantime, though, we know even if we had the money today, it's probably a 2-year process to build that field out the way the way it's being proposed. And so we're doing the turf repair now so that the field's usable for the next couple of years while we sort out whether we're going down this path of artificial turf and lights or not.
You're saying artificial turf would take 2 years?
From design to construction and use, yeah, easily. Yeah.
Wow.
It's not simple. Think of it as it's very, it's everything underneath that surface is highly engineered to be able to support the surface above it, to drain it correctly, to be able to clean it correctly. All those things come into account.
I had no idea. Okay. Thank you.
Hmm.
And I know we're struggling to fill vacancies with the Rangers, and we're obviously adding positions for park maintenance for some parks. How successful are we in terms of encouraging either San Jose Bridge or Resilience Corps members to be able to fill those positions? And is there much interest there? Have any sense?
Avi may want to add to this, Deputy Director of Parks, Avio Tom. I know that we're having some success with him getting into the maintenance positions, and we've been actively pursuing them for those positions. I'm not sure that that's the case on the Ranger side, but Avi may be able to add some extra context there.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Mayor, for the question. So we are finding interest among the active Resilience Corps members to look at city jobs. We've actually had 2 Resilience Corps members apply for and get into the hiring process, and we're now working with them to find job placements for more Resilience Corps members as they are starting to exit the program, this first phase. Where we're seeing the greatest possibility is really what's coming next with the next phase of the Resilience Corps. We're shifting our program model to have multiple cohorts, so actually 3 cohorts of 60 people. And as those participants work through the San Jose Conservation Corps model and are deemed to have the right level of social emotional readiness, we'll actually bring them directly into our crews, whether that's in park maintenance or in the park rangers or in Beautify San Jose. So they get direct firsthand experience working with us to better prepare them for that next step. It's largely about their social emotional readiness to leave a little bit more comfortable crew setting, but we also see this as, again, really firming up the pipeline right into our careers.
Thank you, Avi. And it sounds like you're referring to Conservation Corps and Resilience Corps. I know probably a heavier lift would be participants in the bridge program, the unhoused residents. Have we been successful at all with any of those individuals in terms of making a jump to full-time?
I know we've had some past success that I know you're aware of. More currently, I don't have that data because we have transitioned that program over to housing.
Oh, right.
So you might want to ask them, or I can have them let them know to let you know.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, great. I think that covered all my questions. And I don't see any of my colleagues' hands up. So we're on to strategic support. Do we have time? It's now 4:30. Okay, we'll go to strategic support. Thanks, everybody. Wow.
Are you ready, Mayor?
I'm ready. I just want, do you guys have everybody in the box?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep, we're
fabulous.
good.
Let's do
We're
it.
good. We're good. Okay. Good afternoon. You've been at this for many, many hours. We're glad you caught up. So we're here on our assigned time. So I'm Julia Cooper. I'm the city's finance director, and I'm here with my other CSA partners from Strategic Support, Jennifer Shembri, Kalad Tawick, his first budget study session, and Matt Kano. So here we have the outcomes of our CSA. Doesn't want to move. Yeah, I'm pushing the green button. I guess the battery went out. It's not here. So I'll just go. Oh, there you go. Okay. And then here we have the core services for our CSA. As you can see that after you spent the last day and a half kind of going over the organization, we are the CSA that we like to say provides the people, the funding, the tools, and the facilities that make our partner departments across the organization be successful in delivering their services. And then on the next slide, we have a listing of some of the program examples. So as you can see, it stretches from paying our employees, maintaining our financial books, collecting revenues, ensuring that we have the appropriate technology in place, hiring and recruiting to fill all of the vacancies and the positions across the organization, providing a successful benefit package for them, and then maintaining the city facilities and fleet vehicles. Some of the key highlights, here you can see our performance measure dashboard, and we have our bond ratings, also budget, keeping our vacancies down, the facilities being maintained, the fleet being available, and also making sure that we're providing continual feedback to our employees and they get their performance evaluations on time. On the next slide, we provide a budget summary in terms of the amount, the budgeted resources for the 4 departments in the CSA. I do want to point out that for the finance and HR departments, we have a lot of citywide expenditures that are put in there. So if you extract that and you just look at our program budget, for the finance department, it's about $24.2 million. And for the HR department, it's about $15.5 million. So that's the amount of money that's budgeted in terms of providing the people to do the work for the organization. And then next, our service delivery is shaped by supporting the organization, as we talked about. Just some of the stuff we've been working on in the last year is providing support to clean energy, procurement activities. Jennifer's been hard at work with her team in terms of attracting and retaining talent, championing the roadmap activities in the IT area, especially around cybersecurity risks and disaster preparedness, and then also for supporting the hybrid workplace, not just with the IT and technology tools, but also the space. This key listing of proposed budget actions, as you can see, we're adding additional resources for procurement. We talked about that in the council meeting a couple of days ago. Staffing up for recruitment and retention for our staffing, and also learning and development so we can retain those people in the organization, development services, staffing, and public works, and then there's a transfer of the Office of Civic Innovation to the IT department. So in summary, we do have some pictures there. We produce the act for every year, so we have a responsibility in the financial reporting. We're putting the tools and information in the hands of our partners across the organization so they can do the work in the community, maintaining our facilities and equipment, and then also nurturing employee growth, safety, and wellness. So with that, we're available to answer any questions.
Thank you, Julia. Thank you, everyone. Questions? Councilmember Cohen.
Yeah, thank you. I just have some questions, Jennifer, for you on the HR staffing part. I know there's additional funding in this year's budget for recruitment and retention staffing. What's the number of people that would be? Is this staffing that was already added this year that's being carried over? There's no new staffing, right?
Jennifer Shembri, Director of Employee Relations and Human Resources. That's correct. It's for the recruiting specifically, it's 3 temporary positions that are being made permanent. So it's
okay.
positions I currently have right now.
And that staff is helping kind of cast our net wider in terms of trying to recruit people to fill the many vacancies we have in the city?
Partially, if they are the actual recruiters running the recruitments and things like that. We are also adding a position, or I have a position that's added that is also being continued for another year that's specifically going to be focused on pipeline work. This is going to be in our learning and development division and human resources, and they're the ones that are going to build the relationships with educational institutions, job fairs, things like that. So that's the position that'll really be focused on building our pool.
Okay. And there's all this talk about all the vacancies, and obviously, whether we can attract people for them, that's been an issue. But assuming you can attract applicants, do we have a kind of a roadmap as to how quickly, in theory, you could hire, and how if you hired at full capacity, how many months would it take to fill the vacancies, for example?
That's a very good question because each one is very different. So there's recruitments, that we can do. We actually just did a recruitment in Julia's department that I think was filled in less than 2 months from the time the person resigned. So that's not even when we got a poster or anything like that. That's a pretty quick recruitment. But there are ones that were more challenging that could take 3-4 months. If we hired a consultant to do it, those often take quite a bit longer. They're doing a lot of networking and things like that. So I don't have an answer for you on that. I think that's a good question and something that we can look at seeing if we can better answer.
I guess I was kind of asking the question from the other side, assuming, obviously there's a lag time in any position, but given that we know there's vacancies today, if someone applied, if there were applicants for every one of those positions, you didn't have enough staff to interview, process, hire, onboard every vacancy in 1 month, I guess is my point. So I'm just wondering, from the HR standpoint, what's the capacity for hiring, and how long would it take even if every application, every job were being filled?
So so I understand the question now, and it's a very good question, something that we're looking at. So hiring is not done just by HR. It's done jointly between HR and the departments, and departments have their own recruiting staff that are running recruitments. But a really key part of our hiring process are hiring managers. So they're the actual technical experts, usually within the chain of command of the person we're hiring. And that is a lot of places where we see lack of capacity because they have full-time jobs, priorities that they need to get across the goal line. So even if you added 100 staff into HR, we still would have that type of capacity issue where that is not. They have other things that they need to get across the goal line, not just recruiting. So it's a challenge.
Yeah, understood. I mean, I guess I'm just, it's an interesting curiosity for me because we talk about, filling these things as quickly as possible, and I'm just wondering what that quickly as possible is. and it's not necessarily to say that we need to hire more staffing for your department, but because I do imagine that there's still a limit because there's also, for example, IT that needs to happen for every new employee, and there's training that happens for every new employee, and all those things will have to happen even if you hired them. So something, sort of an interesting question. I think it'd be interesting to know what our capacity is, and if we're falling short, then we can do the analysis of, are we falling short because people aren't applying, because the candidates aren't meeting our standards, because for a variety of reasons. I'd be curious to know. But
yes, I think we should look at that further.
Okay.
It's a very good question.
Yeah, thank you.
And maybe just as a follow-up, Councilmember Cohen, Jennifer, could you just give that what I talked about a little bit yesterday? Because I've made recruitment and retention a high priority for us, and so how has that translated? Maybe it's going to be forthcoming in MBA, but can you give some highlights of how the organization has pivoted, and Jennifer's leading the effort to make this more of a priority, given all the constraints and the other time pressures on people? But can you give us some examples of what we're doing?
Sure, absolutely. Yes, as Jennifer indicated yesterday and then just now, we are putting out an MBA that'll hopefully be out early next week. We just wanted to wait for our most updated vacancy numbers. That would be for our April vacancy numbers. But that MBA is going to highlight a variety of changes that we've made and will continue to make to the hiring process, to streamline it, to give departments more flexibility with it, to provide incentives for employees to refer others. So some of the things the city manager has definitely asked departments to prioritize recruitments, asked their hiring managers to prioritize recruitments. We are using consultants, a lot of flexibility with MQs, whether it's we are approving exceptions to MQs or we're changing the job specs. John Cicerelli had mentioned a couple of those examples. We have on average been changing job specifications probably 5 or 6 a month for the last 6 months or so. And that is typically to broaden our pool, to the applicant pool. We are making salary adjustments as well. The council's seen some of those. We have quite a few on the council agenda for this upcoming Tuesday. We've made changes to the hiring process to give departments more authority. There's various checkpoints that need to come to HR, and we've backed off of that. Different HR approval things no longer requiring. We've given the departments ability to skip and consolidate steps in the hiring process. And then we're doing a lot of pipeline work, job fairs and things like that, which during COVID kind of stopped and there weren't a lot of things going on. They're starting again. So we just participated in one with San Jose State. We have another one coming up. So those are some of the things. There's a lot more actually, but those are some of kind of the highlights of what will be in that MBA.
And can you talk a little bit about the goal setting?
Yes, so we are also doing an agile process with departments. So we're looking at all of our different recruitments and going through the steps. And I'm actually participating in it myself, and it's very helpful because I can see where the pain points are. Where are we getting stuck? So, and what is going on there? And then I'll reach out to the departments and say, hey, what's going on here? Is there something that we can do? And through that process, we are setting goals for departments, or departments are setting goals for themselves. And then we're tracking how we're doing as far as that goal. So it's still a work in process, and it's a learning opportunity for all, but I think it's a really good opportunity to see where we're having issues in our hiring process and very quickly resolve those.
Earlier this year, we increased the referral bonus for employees. Do we have any feel for whether that's making any difference or helping get more people into the pipeline?
Not yet, but we should probably, I would probably look at that maybe in another month or so. It hasn't been that long, and see, where we are.
Disability services and whether we should create an Office of Disability Affairs. That the 200,000 was to study the issue and existing workload and staffing. And I'm wondering, I see that it's in the budget again today, this time. So what's the status? Have we not progressed at all? Where are we on the investigation of the need? Well, we need a disability evaluation and a disability affairs office, but where are we in connection with coming up with the data we need?
Hi, Councilmember. This is Jim Shan, Budget Office. So that is, we have a manager's budget addendum coming out a little bit later this month. I think we were waiting on some of that work to wrap up. So we did put a placeholder funding of $200,000 in the budget to be able to continue that work into the next fiscal year. And so we'll have more information on that shortly.
Okay, so did we do any of the work last year, or this is the MBA is a continuation of work that was to be done and hasn't been because of workload or whatever? Can you give me a little bit more background of what might be in the MBA?
Maybe I can help. I know a little bit about what's in the MBA, but I haven't read it yet. So Sarah Zarate in our City Manager's Office of Administration, Policy and Intergovernmental Relations has been working on that with her staff, and we've done the study. That's what's going to be in the MBA. We are going to make some recommendations in that MBA to add a position for this budget process with some money that we have set aside and some savings that she's been able to obtain with the study since she did most of it in-house. So more to come on that, but we do need a firm liaison out of the city, but we need to marry it up so we're not duplicating services with the county, and they're doing their own work right now. So we want to get some work started as soon as we can hire somebody, if you approve the position that we're going to be recommending in the MBA, but that is going to be coming out very shortly.
Okay, that's great. Sarah, did you want to say anything?
Sarah, are you on line?
I see you there.
Okay.
Thank you, Council Member. We did have initial challenges in getting the assessment going. As you're aware, we hired someone for this, but they left the city. We were able to continue the assessment earlier this year and are just wrapping it up. We held several community meetings, interviewed staff, had one-on-one meetings with our community partners, and have been collaborating with the county to really understand what's needed in a comprehensive way for the city organization. So we're finalizing the report. There's going to be an MBA, and as Jennifer mentioned, we'll be recommending additional work over the next year. There's more that I think that we need to look more deeply at and further understand what the new county office is going to be doing and how we can collaborate and not duplicate services. But we'll be summarizing all of that in the MBA.
Thank you. I really look forward to that. But just a concern about offloading some of the work to the county. Some of these things are related to the city operation itself, our employees, how our employees have accessibility, and how our residents have accessibility throughout our city and not necessarily county. I appreciate that we're working with the county because I do think that's important. We don't want to have a lot of overlap, but we also want to take ownership of making sure that our residents with disabilities and our employees with disabilities are covered under as we look for accessibility in all areas. So I really appreciate that. I look forward to the MBA. Just thank you. And that's all I have for you, Sarah. I just have one quick question for you, Jennifer Shembri, and that I look forward to the hiring recommendations you're making or the streamlining things that you're putting into place in your department. I think that's great. But I have this sort of pet peeve, and I'm wondering if you could address it for me. And that is that when we hire a new employee or where staff comes on board, they have to come in within a pay period. That just doesn't make sense to me because we're not necessarily hiring them within that exact pay period time, and we may need that staff person right away. So why do we have that in place, that an employee must start at the beginning of a pay period and cannot start early and have their first paycheck prorated? I've never understood that.
That's a very good question. Julie and I are conferring over here, or whether it's a finance or an HR issue, and it's probably both. But we will get back to you on that. I do know it's challenging for the staff if it's not at the beginning of a pay period, but exactly why we'll have to get back to you.
Well, okay, I'm just going to throw this out there. Certainly, we have the technology in our payroll processing software that we can prorate a paycheck, because certainly our employees are not leaving at the end of a pay period. They may be leaving midterm of a pay period. So if we can do it on that side, why can't we do it on the beginning side? I look forward to your response. It may sound silly, but it isn't, because we hire and then we have to wait 2 or 3 weeks before the employee can come on board. And that's valuable training time that we're losing. So I look forward to hearing more back from you on that. With that, I have no further questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Foley. I know members of my staff would join you in that strong request to figure out ways to be able to get beyond that challenge. Councilmember Perales?
Yeah, thanks. While we're at it, I'll echo that as well. If it's possible, if we can find out how, I would support that. And to add on to Councilmember Foley's comments, I know that we certainly don't want to be duplicating services the county may do, but there are a lot of things that we do independently that whoever the county has over there, and however robust their insight might be on any specific area, but specifically when it comes to people of different abilities, it's not going to be, I think, as beneficial as having our own eyes in house. It became even more relevant to me through the conversations that we had recently on a town hall on safer streets, and just talking about the Vision Zero efforts that we have, and hearing from participants that are disabled and confined to mobility through wheelchair and other means, just with that thinking cap on, and the fact that we don't always have that front of mind on the decisions that we're making. I think that having at least a key point person, similar to how we started the Office of Immigrant Affairs, right? It was an office of one, but really it's about having a key point person. I think is tremendously effective, and I would support that, and hopefully the MBA will highlight a path to get there. My main question is in regards to what Councilmember Cohen was talking about, and this will be for Jennifer Shembri. It was helpful when you described to us maybe a month or so ago, and described to us the challenges of hiring and how a lot of times that the backlog is happening because you need to pool, which makes sense. You need to pool an expert, somebody from within the department that is going to help. And obviously that's how, we hire within our own offices as council members, right? We're not just allowing the sort of the filtration of the system to decide who it is that we want to hire for our office. And so each department, it makes sense. It's very much the same. And that would require somebody that has got another job to do, likely several responsibilities, to then take time out to participate in that process. And I could see how that is really, regardless of how much support we provide you, Jennifer, your team, that you're going to be reliant on them. So do you have any, has there been any discussion, or you have any ideas on how do we relieve that, or is it not? Is just the reality of kind of we are only going to be able to move as fast as we can? So just curious in that regard.
Thanks. Matt Kano, Director of Public Works. Jennifer and I just looked at each other, and I thought as a department to direct, we're all department directors, I didn't mean that. But in Public Works, I'll just give some examples of how we deal with that. And part of it is just a continued stress of the message. A little while back, the message came out from the city manager's office to remind all of us that this has to be the priority of our staff. And it's upon us as department heads and our managers to continue to stress that, specifically because people forget. You talk to them and they say, yeah, I know that's really important, but then the next day they get caught up in the emergency and they kind of procrastinate a bit on the hiring. And so what we try and do in Public Works is just continually, almost daily, every time I have a one-on-one with my managers, it's about, I understand you're drowning, or not drowning, but I understand there's fires that come up every day, but we have to focus on filling those positions, because at the end of the day, we all know that the fires will get easier to put out if we get those positions filled. So a lot of it is just continue the conversation and continuing to stress that internally within the departments, not just hearing it from HR as an example. So.
And one other, yes, I thought it was important. Matt and I were looking at each other, and we actually read each other's minds, but I thought it was important that you hear from a department director on that, from a department director's perspective about the hiring managers. But one other thing, and John Cicerelli had mentioned this, that we are trying out as the citywide recruitments. And so we're trying it now with our analyst vacancies, and we have about 50 analyst vacancies citywide. And typically that would be done individually by department, a hiring manager within each department. Probably, that would probably be like 35 to 40 individual recruitments. And so what we're doing is we're trying to do one recruitment. We're getting all the departments involved, and they have, stakeholders involved in the questions and that sort of thing. And then we'll create a pool. So we'll do first round interviews, and we'll create a pool that then the departments can then use to pick second. So if that's successful, I think that might alleviate some of the work from hiring managers rather than doing these individual recruitments. So that is something that we are trying out right now.
How new is that approach?
Well, there are certain classifications where we have lists. So staff specialist, for example, has a list. That is not exactly what we're doing here, but it is something similar. But to do it for a classification like this, analyst, is brand new. It's posted right now.
Okay, so we'll learn from this this approach and see if that helps. It still seems as though, right, there's a big part of this that rests on the shoulders of individuals within each department, right? And I would say, I mean, I appreciate what Matt was saying about that, stressing the importance of it. But I can't imagine these department managers and heads are not also being stressed on the importance of whatever other things are on their plate, right? And other things that we are then demanding them to do. So I gotta imagine it's a very competing interest kind of thing where they've got, the work that's just on their table, and then on top of it, needing to sort of, step aside and focus some attention on the hiring process. I would agree with Matt's comments and why that should be a priority, because once we can get more staff on board, it makes things that much easier. And so, but anyways, I'm just curious because I know that's something that makes sense as to why it's a challenge to hire people fast enough, and that it's not just throwing more resources to your team, Jennifer. That it's at some point here we get backed up simply just because of the rest of the process and everybody else that has to be involved. Okay, that was all my questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Any other questions from my colleagues? I just had one, Jennifer, you mentioned that you've got updated numbers on vacancies. Are we still around 13% citywide, or?
I don't yet have the April numbers, but we
Okay.
were around 13% for March.
And just within HR, do you have a similar level of vacancies?
Within the HR department, I have, probably a little bit less.
Okay. I noticed there were expenditures to make some of those positions that you have there at one time. I think 3 of them were made ongoing, and then others were extended. I'm just wondering to what extent that makes for more challenging for departments to retain staff, and if so, whether we should be focusing particularly in HR and making sure those are ongoing positions so you can actually do the work that needs to be done to help everybody else hire.
So it has been challenging to fill citywide overstrengths and limit dated positions. That's no question, because in a tough labor market, if someone has a choice between a temporary job that they don't know for sure is going to be here in a year versus a full-time regular job, they're going to go choose the full-time regular job. So we have had, I think, probably the most significant where we've had declines of job offers has been with our overstrength and limit dated positions. So I think Jim and the budget office have done a great job in this budget in trying to get those positions as much as we can converted to ongoing. So my 3 recruitment positions that are strictly doing recruitment are being converted to ongoing, and I have had some turnover in those positions, and I do have some vacancies in those positions. So hopefully this helps.
Okay, and I know you got some others that are still date limited. Anyway, thank you. I appreciate that. And Khaled, welcome. How you doing?
So far, so good.
Good. I just didn't want you to get off without having any questions to answer. So
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate the question.
Great. Welcome. Anyway, okay. Well, thanks everybody. Thanks for all your hard work. We do have appointees. A couple of them at least are sitting around here, and we could move on to the appointees if my colleagues are willing to hang around for a few more minutes, depending on how many questions we got. So I'm just going to ask my colleagues, does anyone have any objection if we plow through here? Better make sure we actually have a quorum. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have a bare quorum, it looks like right now. It's 6. Now you want to push this off to
And
tomorrow
Mayor,
morning?
you're gonna lose me in 2 minutes too.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. Well, that settles it. Let's meet tomorrow at 9 a.m.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll do it at 9 a.m. Thanks. Oh, we got a public comment? Thank you.
Caller 3520.
Hi, Brett Beekman here. Thanks for the meeting today. You went over 4 or 5 items in the past 4 hours, and I'm only allowed, basically 30 seconds to speak on each item. We've gone through a lot of public practices, how the budget process can work. I hope next year for each item, you can at least allow 1 minute for public comment for each section. it was interesting stuff. And for me to have to spend only 30 seconds on each item, I think it misses the process of what this is all about. This is a community process. This isn't a process just for yourselves and to say how efficient you are in the meeting process. It is a sharing of a public community space, and we're learning information from each other. Make it a community process, please, in the future. With that said, thank you that environment and utility budgeting is at about the same place as public safety. I learned that. That's next year's budgeting, and that's interesting to me. As always, it's important that openness and accountability and civil rights and civil protections really can help yourselves in your decision making, along with reimagine ideas, racial equity ideas. Those two concepts, racial equity and civil protections, I think are incredible ways to really help yourselves in decision making in the next coming years. And just thank you. Good luck in our efforts for these items, and I hope to be able to talk about them more as well. Thank you.
Hillary Thorson.
Hello, my name is Hillary Thorson, and I serve as a commissioner on the Library and Education Commission for District 6. Thank you so much for including MBA number 6. I would ask you to please fully restore library hours across all the branches and expand open hours to Sundays as well. Only 13 of the branches had their hours restored this fiscal year, which meant that the remaining libraries had their hours cut by 4 hours a week. In my district, District 6, 2 out of the 3 branches, Rose Garden and Willow Glen, had their hours cut. There are people who depend on library services all over the city, and libraries are consistently located near schools, so cutting hours for any of the branches raises equity issues. I would love to have all the branches open on Sundays for people like myself who are not at home during the day. Sunday hours would mean an additional chance to visit the library each week. And as we heard, research demonstrates that Sunday hours have historically been popular, and peer library data indicates the same. I know that funding is tight, but funding the library really impacts every area of the city. Last night at the community budget meeting, it was mentioned that the city's been having trouble filling vacancies. The library offers programming that can help match people with these vacancies, like SJPL Works. Last year, 664 workshops were held, helping 2,143 people with resume assistance, mock interviews, and job applications, as well as career exploration and transition. The city is also centering equity measures for allocating resources and services. The library has led that effort and developed equity, diversity, and inclusion quality standards for educational programming. The library continually removes barriers for access for residents. The current fine fee program for juvenile materials has allowed for unprecedented partnerships with school districts. My 5-year-old daughter recently received her card, and she was so excited. She told me as soon as she got home from school. I believe that the equitable recovery you desire can't be achieved without permanently restoring funding to pre-pandemic levels for all library branches. And
Jill Borders.
Hi, thank you so much. This is Jill Borders. I'm a District 10 resident, and I just wanted to comment and thank the council members that brought up the issues with animal services. I just felt like when you asked those questions today, it made me feel heard personally, and I know so many people that are dealing with issues with animal services. So to hear many of you speak about it was reassuring that that message is getting through. Along those same lines, I think that this is more of an emergency with the Animal Services Department than may be being conveyed here. This is a huge safety issue and a huge liability issue when you have low staff around dogs that are stressed, volunteers that are stressed, staff that are stressed. It's a real volatile situation with the animals, and we want to keep all the people safe there. That is my first concern, and of course my second concern for the animals as well. Just you cannot overstate just how imperative it is to have good staff who are trained and volunteers who are trained when you're working with dogs that are not fully trained or might be challenging. So I just hope you hear me. As far as volunteering, that is one issue that is huge, and volunteers need to be well trained. We want to be careful if we're allowing our 16-year-olds and 17-year-olds into these facilities because of the huge liability issues with dogs that are not trained. Okay, the last thing I want to say about the animal services is it is so bad there that I really think it warrants someone going in from the city and looking for code violations with our own animal services department. I'm so concerned. And last, please not use the Facebook page. People are using it for business services and things like that. You've got to check it out. It's quite appalling. Thank you.
No more hands are up. Back to the council.
All right, thank you, everyone. The meeting's adjourned. We'll resume at 9 a.m. tomorrow.